picking up my voice. Hold on. Oh, I love when things break for no reason. Hi, everyone. I am so sorry no one could hear me. They can't hear you either? Okay, hold on. Hold on.
I forgot
How about now?
that avatar. He looks so cringe.
Hey.
I can't hear.
Awesome.
There we go. I hate when things break for no reason, because OBS and my computer decided to just change all my audio settings, because that makes sense.
Didn't you like move?
Have
No,
you
I
had
didn't
a
know, I didn't move.
Windows
That does
update?
things.
No.
So another thing I just noticed, I don't think the characters are moving when we talk, or are they?
No, they are.
They
Yeah,
are.
They are.
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
Just
working.
remember, there's a delay with the stream.
Yeah. No, they're working. That part I did.
Are you sure it's not paused?
Oh yeah, I have
Gosh,
my
it.
pause. Make sure it's not paused.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. I apologize that no one can hear me. I was saying hello to some of you, but, you know, Twitch be Twitch and YouTube and, I'm sorry, and OBS be OBS. But we are back after a very, 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 very long break. It was...
Almost 2 months.
Close, yeah, because October's next week, and I think our last session, if I'm looking at my notes correctly, was August 2nd.
Second.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I
it's-
say third because for me.
No, it was the
technically
third for you,
oh,
but it
Friday.
was the second for us Americans. But yeah, but yeah, we're back. So hello, everybody. I did. I had a work emergency, so that's why we are starting a little late. Well, later, I should say. We're not actually late. We're just later. But yeah.
We're not late. You're late.
Yeah, exactly. A wizard arrives precisely when he means to. There you go. But yeah, so we will go ahead and get this party rolling. You decided to stream right before I go in hiding over the weekend? No. Well, at least you get to watch us before you go into hiding. All right. Well, before we jump in too much, I am going to do a recap. Instead of just like jumping us into it, I am going to do a legit recap because it has been a while and most of us don't remember where we left off. So this recap's more for us than for you guys. So let me find my pocket bard here. And we'll
What were we doing? Setting fire to the town and pillaging it?
No, that's next
I
session.
wish.
That's next session.
He knows us so well.
Yeah, I do. I'm like, no, don't worry. We'll have you pillage at some point, I'm sure. All right.
I'm just gonna be for
Pillage the
all
village.
mimics.
Oh
No,
my
we need
gosh,
to have
what-
parts use
what
the
is-
mimics.
No, that's the dragon.
That was
No.
that was
Little
like
owls
oompa,
put a-
oompa, oompa, oompa.
That was very upbeat. and
That
weird.
was not well because there's a new Pocket Bard since last we played came out with an update and they added a tavern section. So there's now a tavern setting within Pocket Bard, which is cool. But like if the intensity's low, it's perfect for like background intro stuff like this. That was medium intensity. This is medium intensity. And you can like it's really like polka music real fast.
Yeah, that is quite fast.
And what's cool, this one has a vocals thing, so I can actually have music. Like, I click a button and there's actual lyrics. Which is pretty cool. So, anyways.
That is cool.
Yes, very, very cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this party started. Let me jump over to our table.
Also, do not forget that in the past, I don't remember when it happened, but
Oh, shoot.
whoever runs DBD Beyond decided to be a bit of a dick, and so all of the spells have now changed to their new versions. There was
Oh, no, that's right. I forgot about that.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're going to have to... Oh, thank you. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
because he
Thank-
plays with 30 people on a regular basis. He knows what's the best, you know?
Yeah, I forgot
But
about that.
I'm not going to get into that any further.
Hang on 1 second. I forgot I got to set up one quick thing for...
But all of my spells are marked legacy, so I guess mine are.
Oh?
still
Yeah,
the
There-
mine's all legacy.
There may be a
Yeah.
legacy version, which is good, so it means your stuff should still be good.
I don't know what the difference is between.
To be fair, I don't remember.
5 and next, so.
I haven't looked
Uh,
through it. I know there's a
they-
lot of changes, though.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they allowed just a legacy version to continue to appease people.
Probably for now, anyways, but...
I think they had to have.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
only thing I have as legacy is my Hellish Rebuke, but that's really the only spell I have, so...
I'm guessing none of the other ones changed.
And mine are all legacy.
That's good. All right, there. Nope, that's still... Why? Hold
Yeah.
on.
I
It's
didn't
very
have
good that
magic.
the healer
I had
has
punches.
legacy.
What do you mean, the healer? Oh, you're the healer, right? Yes.
There
Yeah,
we
the
go.
cleric.
Okay, that's better.
None of my spells have changed.
Wait.
I thought you were talking about my spell book. I'm like, well, I have 0 healing spells.
Healing spell.
You know, the healing spells that we've barely used so far. Actually, I don't think I've used any healing spells yet.
Look, we're so good. We've barely gotten hurt.
Look, in this house,
True.
all we care about is making sure the enemy hits 0 before us. Whatever happens after that is future us problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Hold on a second. Sorry, things are broken as usual.
Technical difficulties.
The best
Breaky
part
break.
about these
We
legacy
love it.
spells
without
is that
them.
even my custom charm person from the Liar
Uh-huh.
is marked legacy, despite being
It's not actually existing. That's great. Love it. All right.
Legacy
Sorry about that.
custom spells. Interesting.
That's amazing. Okay. Sorry about that. We're just having to fix things that apparently just decided to break for no reason. I love it.
I forgive you.
Okay, so let me get my notes and we will get a recap going. Okay, so the last time we left off, I might even just read this. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. So last time we left off, the group had been wandering around town and I'm trying to remember. Let's see here. Okay, so the group had met back up at the Lucky Tankard, where they had finally reunited after being split up for a short bit. Let's see. Spitwick is jostled awake by Dax. Dax and Merrick now. I'm literally going to read this because I don't remember what happened. Now learn that the plans they had been originally tasked to collect have been stolen, and they relay this during the meeting. Spitwick realizes that there's something larger at play here, and he brings the group back to Casivus's den deep in the heart of Riverside, where through the secret alley entrance. During which time, before that though, the group does kind of wander around town a little bit, and Grigor picks up 2 replacement daggers from the ones he lost. Basil also picks up his special daggers that he had dropped off to get worked on at the armorer, and now has these 2 very special daggers that he'll use to see later. He also bought a mysterious potion from the little curio shop on the waterfront. Merrick had interrogated our poor, unfortunate soul, Garrow, who was one of the Lowhoods. He's been interrogating him a bit more, and was able to get the captain's name, that is the boss of Garrow. Garrow does relay to the group. Relays to the group that his particular gang has been acting strangely lately, and that his superior, Captain Harkett, has been ordering the group around in odd manners, which doesn't make sense for a group of rough and tumble thieves. Garrow is not a fan of this. He does obviously follow along with it because he is a subordinate, but he doesn't agree with this. And he does confirm that the Lowhoods probably are going to try to track your guys' party down at some point in sort of retribution for the carnage you have been bringing on them. Okay, so Spitwick does bring the group and Garrow back to Casivus's den with help from Talina so that he remains blinded. Spitwick actually walks them into the den, and Garrow is kind of questioned / interrogated a tiny bit more by the group as well as Casivus at this point. And Garrow does give up the details as to the location of Captain Harkett's stronghold, which you are then informed it is a manor that is on the cliffside coast of the northeastern part of the city of Daroon. That's supposedly abandoned, but has actually been converted into a sort of Lowhood stronghold. Casivus knows the location and says, okay, not only do I know this location, I actually know how to get you there. And just before we ended the last session, he turns around and it reveals a secret entrance that his fireplace turns, and it is an entrance into some sort of tunnel. And he tells you that there is a way under the city to get to where you need to go that will help you avoid not only the Lowhoods, but any prying eyes that may wonder what you're doing wandering into an area of town you probably shouldn't be in. And it is here that we will go ahead and pick our story back up. So, as a reminder, real quick, Grigor, you did purchase 2 daggers, so if you do not have those on your character sheet, please go ahead and add those. Basil, you do have that mystery potion liquid in the vial that you purchased last time. That you are not sure what it is. I do, but you don't. So you do have that.
It has been added to inventory.
Good. And then I know, Talina, you have, I think, 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. I just got to go back to check my notes because I know you purchased some a while ago. Yeah, like session 2, you purchased. You also have 3 of these mystery potions as well.
Yes, I remember this. I think
Good.
we have the same one. I think we both have
You do,
the pinkish
yes.
rose liquid.
Yeah,
And I
you
also
do.
have a sickly syrupy green one and a transparent one with
Yep.
a blue tint.
Good, perfect, love it. So yeah, so you've got all of that, and okay, so yes. So getting back to where we were, your group is kind of smattered around inside Casivus's den, which of course you have. The fireplace had been going, and then it kept going, even though the whole thing rotated like counterclockwise, and you hear it lock into place as it reveals an entrance into this, and you can't see. There's no light. It's just a dark causeway that kind of goes off behind, kind of off and down from the a little bit from the back of the fireplace there. Let me actually find the right background sound here. Let's see if this will work.
At the same time you were looking for a background sound, I heard in your song there was the sound of a door squeaking.
I know, it was perfect. I heard that. It was perfect timing. Yep. So as your group enters in, well, let's just say this before anything happens. Obviously, the causeway has been revealed. Casivus turns and is holding his hand, motioning for you to go in. And Spitwick hops up off of his little ottoman stool he was sitting on and scurries over, and he just disappears into the blackness that is now behind the fireplace. Of course, he doesn't have to duck because he's all of maybe 2 feet tall, and you hear the echo of his feet as it disappears into the darkness. And Castus kind of glances around at the rest of you and is motioning into the hole, basically. Garrow looks very confused. He's not moving. Doesn't look like... He thinks he has like an inquisitive look, like he almost can recognize what he's looking at, but he's like, this is weird. But he's not saying anything. What do you guys do?
Garrow? Who's that again? Oh,
Garrow is your prisoner.
Why do I have him written down as Sergeant Barrow Jack?
Garrow Jack is his name.
G.
Yeah, G. Sorry, I may have not made that clear last time.
No, it's fine. Autocorrect may also have hit it. but-
Also possible.
On his shoulders.
So does Garrow, is he just not moving because he's confused?
Well, he's
or
sitting on the
is
sofa,
he-
and so he is still bound. His hands are still bound, if I remember correctly. He doesn't get up to follow because he's not part of your group. He's a prisoner, so he's like waiting for somebody to tell him what to do. But at this point, he as a reminder from the previous conversation, he's kind of served his purpose. He's given you the information that you guys have been searching for. You now know where you need to go. You've learned who his superior is. He's kind of made it clear he's not the biggest fan of the direction the Lowhoods have been going. He doesn't approve of Captain Harkett's direction as of late, and he's kind of just he kind of spilled his soul a little bit based on you guys, if I remember correctly, pretty good rolls. But yeah, so at this point, he's just kind of sitting there quietly, and this entrance has been revealed, and Spitwick has wandered off.
Dax would look at the rest of the group and then kind of motion her head at Garrow, being like, what do we want to do with him?
Casivus kind of also is glancing around the room.
No,
I was gonna-
Major threat.
I was gonna look at Casivus to see if he was okay with leaving him behind here, or if he wanted to. I don't know.
Okay, so Talina looks
Out
at...
first.
Talina kind of gives Casivus a look, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Casivus...
This is your home.
Sure.
Are you okay with this?
Casivus sees the look, and he smirks, and he just kind of nods towards Talina and says, don't worry. If you'd prefer, I'm happy to take care of the whelp. And he kind of
I don't
gives...
think our definition of take care is the exact same.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not
lives.
about to soil my my good furniture with his innards. No, don't worry. I'll take care of him. Don't fret.
Can I just know what Garo's facial expression was like.
He kind of both eyebrows kind of go up a little bit when he hears Casivus say that, but he doesn't look scared. He more looks like, "What are you gonna do?" Like,
Dax is gonna look at Cassis and be like, "How much is the couch that he's currently sitting on?"
oh no. Casivus gives Dax a look, and there's a hint of a smirk in the corner of his mouth, and part of his eyebrow goes up and goes, "More than I care to have you worry about it this time, nor do I wish to try to track down a replacement, if you don't mind."
Dax would sigh and then be like, "Well, I'm not leaving him here with you. If he's not coming with, I'm slitting his throat."
And Casivus kind of looks a little perplexed and is like, "Why can you not leave him with me?"
Because, to be frank, I don't know you all that too well. All I know is that you've given us a task. We're doing it to be paid. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your actual intentions are. Therefore, I don't trust you.
He stands up straight. He kind of crosses his arms and looks kind of up and down, and you see a look of almost understanding on his face, like, okay, that's a fair statement. And very well. And he walks over to he very, very casually just kind of glides over to Garrow, and he pulls out his rapier that he has on his hip that's underneath his coat, and just like one swift motion, his arm goes underneath his long overcoat and withdraws this very long rapier, and it's held, and like this very fluid motion just whooshing comes out, and he holds it up against the throat of Garrow Jack, like just like one swift motion, not super fast, like you blink and it's over. It's just this very fluid motion, and as he holds it to Garrow's throat, Casivus turns to look at you, Dax, and says, this person has just as much threat to me as he does to you. Don't worry, I'll make sure that it is dealt with properly. And I understand you don't know me that well, but remember where you're standing. This is my home, and it is in fact a secret. So do not worry, I'm not going to let this he kind of stops for a second. I'm not going to let this person deal poorly with you or me. I have as much investment as you are waiting on from me.
Jax would kind of give like a content sigh, like she's disappointed, but at the same time she's like fine, and she would make her way towards the door.
Garrow sees that she starts walking that way, so he turns. He still has his blade out, but now he kind of has the tip of the blade kind of sitting on the ground, and he's kind of holding the pommel of it with his hand. But now he's standing immediately adjacent to Garrow, who's sitting on the sofa, and Garrow now looks a little more worried than he did 30 seconds ago. All right, so Dax has started making her way towards the entrance to this dark space. What's the rest of you guys doing?
I'm trying to remember if Athwin is still in my bag / on my shoulder.
Oh yeah, she was
thought it
asleep last
on
time.
The bad guy's shoulder.
No, that's right.
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 No, I'm thinking of the wrong
She was
time.
the little birdie that I was on the bad guy's shoulder with the knife.
I was controlling the bad guy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she cast control humanoid with her pointy stick.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Who needs control person when you just control them by pulling on their ear and smacking them with a stick?
And
I mean,
mind you,
you're not
for
wrong.
those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, Othwin is an owl about no more than 2 feet tall, and she has a stick. And we're not talking like a fancy staff or no, it's a stick. Like whatever you're picturing in your head of a stick being held by an owl, it's that.
It's quite
It's like-
literally
it's her
the
club.
found a stick on the ground.
Yes.
And now we're going to use it.
Yeah, exactly. That meme is come to life in the form of an owl.
Yep.
Onward?
Contrary to all of Basil's intention and, the act that he actively was trying to prevent Garo from dying, like I've said in the past, the whole deal between Garo and Basil, how he still owed the information and whatnot, that's all done.
Yeah.
So whatever happens to Garo, Basil is he's done with. The agreement's settled, and he is ready to move on. So Basil would continue to go through the path and move on to our next objective.
Okay, so Basil follows Dax. Okay. All right, and does the rest of you guys, I assume, just kind of follow along with the group, or does anyone want to do anything before we vacate the den?
I should
Just
know
follow
by now
along.
if the entire party has dark vision to some extent, right?
I mean,
I know I have dark vision. I know that.
yeah, I would assume at this
I do.
point that because you guys have been active at nighttime, because that fight happened at night, that you would know who does and doesn't have it. So, and as a reminder for everybody, we know, you said Dax has it, Talina has it, and Othman, you have it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I should.
I have it.
Oh, you do have it. Okay, I couldn't remember if Alexander had it. Okay, so I think everybody but Grigor and Basil have dark vision then. But Talina's is like an enhanced dark vision, correct? Because that's why you have, yeah.
I
Because
have 120 feet and I have disadvantage in daylight.
Yeah.
But if Basil and Grigor have no dark vision, I suggest that they stay close together, and I summon a dancing light right behind them, so that there's light in front of them, but it's not blinding them, and it's like floating just behind their heads, or shoulders, or however high they want it, shadow-wise,
Okay,
so that they also can see.
there we go. That was weird.
But it's only like a small one. It's like a 10-foot radius, so you can see where you're going, but you can't see the many feet ahead of us, which we can in the dark.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so as a reminder, then, so you have what color are the dancing lights again? Are they purplish? Is that correct?
Cyane.
Cyane. Okay. All right. Okay.
That color.
Perfect. Okay.
Ooh, the pink looks different.
Oh, that does look different.
It's a double circle now.
Oh wow.
That's fancy. Hang on. Ooh, I like
Oh.
that. That's so much easier to see. I love that. Okay, that's cool. Sorry, we're
also have
playing
to
with new
hold it.
features. Apologies.
You also have to hold it longer. It looks like.
A tiny bit, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's weird.
Go ahead.
It looked like it was delayed on your stream.
It may have been. It may have been.
Okay.
But I also like. Oh, it's like free. Oh, I know why. Oh no, is it gonna do that? I may need to have the thing highlight, like actually visible. Hold on, let me see.
Oh, is it because it's in the background? Yeah.
Is that better? Did that look better on stream?
Yeah, it was a lot smoother.
Okay. Doggone it. All right, that's fine. That just means, hold on, I got to pull up Discord on my other computer then, so I'll be able to see chat messages, because I basically have it hidden now. So hold on. Please hold. But anyways, the entire group at this point, I assume, unless anyone has objections, is making their way single file through this opening that is basically, the opening is about, I would say, no more than 4 feet tall. I'd say probably closer to 3.5 feet tall. And it's about 3.5 feet wide at its widest, because it's a very big fireplace, and it turned basically half of it is now a doorway essentially. So for those of you who are tall, you have to duck under it. Those of you who are short, Othman, you just whoop, right through it. Like, it's no problem for you. But like,
Through.
huh?
Do a little birdie strut.
Yeah, a little birdie strut through. But yeah, like the rest of you guys, if you're over, obviously, like I said, if you're standard humanoid height, which I believe all of you are, you'll have to duck under this. But it's not too wide that you have to like shimmy in. You basically just need to duck.
Yay, half speed.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not really half speed, because it literally is you duck under, you walk like 3 feet, and you stand up again, and you're in a full size. What I was gonna say is, as you walk through, you find yourself in a full size. It's not a cavern. As you come to the other side, it's cobblestone, like it's a tunnel. Like, it doesn't feel like you're in the mountain or in the ground or anything. You are still at normal level. You're just in a secret enclosed space, and it's cobblestones around you. And it's obviously there's some residual light coming from behind you from Casivus's den, and obviously now there's some floating what are the lights called again? Dancing lights that are kind of fluttering around your guys' head. But you're in a very narrow passageway that no more than 2 people can stand shoulder to shoulder, and you're basically up against the wall. So very quickly you realize you need to go single file through where you guys are currently at. And as you guys progress further into this room, Spitwick is not, you don't know where he is at this point. You can't hear him, you can't see him, but he is not waiting for you. He is somewhere ahead of you. But as you're standing in this space, you realize it only goes forward a couple of feet, like maybe 5 or 6 feet, and then it juts right. There's no doors, there's no windows, there's no torches, nothing. It just goes in about 6 feet, and then it goes straight to the right. And then from the right-hand tunnel, if you guys are still moving forward, you realize that who actually let's do this. So Dax, you are first in line. Let's do a marching order here. This will make my life easier. Give me a second. Man, I need more monitors. This is ridiculous. I didn't think 4 monitors would be like a problem, and it's becoming a problem.
That's 3 more than I have, my guy.
I know. That's why I'm like, I should be fine. Apparently, I'm not. Okay, marching order. Okay, so Dax, you were first. Basil, you're second. Who was after Basil? Who went after Basil?
Well, Basil and Grigor should be near each other because they have the light slingies.
Okay, Grigor, would you say that you would have kind of shimmied up next to Basil then?
Sure.
Okay. And then who would be after Grigor?
I can go after them.
Okay.
So keep focus on the lights.
Okay. And then after Talina is either Othman or Alexander. And Othman, because the size that you are, you can kind of flutter around them and in between people's legs. And so you can kind of move around the marching order as you see fit. The rest of you guys, in order to get around each other, you will basically, for the purposes of this, you'll need to check with a person if you want to move up or back.
How I envision this is Othman's just gonna go between their legs.
Okay.
Not giving 2 shits.
Okay.
And get distracted randomly and fall behind.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so in that case, I'm going to put Alexander technically pulling up the rear, and then Othwin, what you're going to do is you're just going to be able to kind of move around as you see fit. But you're basically, for the purposes of this, you're kind of in the middle. So you're kind of somewhere between Talina and Grigor.
That sounds about right.
Cool. Okay.
She'll get about there and then get distracted.
Perfect. So as you're moving, yeah, shocking. As you're moving through this corridor, Dax, you're bringing up the front, and with your dark vision, this is, I mean, it's no problem. You can tell you're in a cobblestone corridor, but as you are moving down this section that just turned right, you realize there's stairs in front of you that are going down and to the left. And even with your dark vision, you can't see because you can't see the bottom because it's curving. And then Basil and Grigor, you're directly behind Dax. And the dancing lights are allowing you to see in front of you, but you start to see this shadow, like this kind of change, and suddenly you see there's a staircase, and Dax is walking down the staircase, and so they're kind of floating above you, and you're able to see kind of around, but you can't see around either. As you all are walking down this corridor, and you're making your way further into this tunnel, essentially, you notice that the walls start to change from like a kind of more newer cobblestone into something that looks older. The stones start to look like they have been weathered quite a bit. You see that the color, for those of you who have dark vision, you can see you can't see full color, but you can see. I think the only one who can see full color in dark vision, I believe, is Talina. Correct? The rest of you just see shades of gray. Am I mistaken on that?
I don't know about tieflings.
I think tieflings just have regular dark vision.
Dark vision is always grayscale. I can just see twice as far.
Oh, okay, cool. So in that case, all of you guys, you're not really seeing colors here, but you're seeing shades of gray, and kind of the texture of these stones change. And as you descend these stairs, every step you feel like you're going back in time. You feel like everything around you is getting older and older and older until Dax, you reach what you believe is the final step. Your foot hits, and then you take another hit, and you look down and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not standing on staircase anymore. I am in fact standing on solid ground, on flat ground, and the ground, again, very old stone. It does not feel like it's fresh cobblestone like the streets above. It doesn't feel like wood or anything like that. It feels like you look around and it's just like, wow, this looks hundreds of years old. Oh my gosh, roll 20. I'm gonna lose it. Hold on. I'm trying to get the map to load that you guys are supposed to be at, and for some reason, it's not loading the physical map file. Like, it's loading my tabletop space, but it's not loading the physical map. So hold on.
Would not be any stream without technical difficulties.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, and it's funny because I have it pulled up on another screen, and that one's working. But the one I'm trying to actually play off of is not cooperating. Let me refresh this real quick, see if this makes a difference. But, so you're standing on solid ground, and then you look up, and you realize so your right is a solid wall, and in front of you is a solid wall, and there's an opening to your left, like a full-size doorway to your front left right here. And it just kind of cuts left, and you can't see around the corner. Before you keep going, do you do anything at this point? I just don't want to like keep forcing, like railroading you guys. So I want to make sure that everyone's good.
So you said there it cuts to a corner. So she's not gonna go like all the way around the corner. She's just gonna kind of briefly stick her head around the corner just to see if she can see anything.
Okay. So yeah, so you stick your head around the corner and you see that it opens up into this very large circular room. And you what's the distance on dark vision again?
60
Give me a second.
120 for improved.
Yeah, 60.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you can see all the way across the room. So you can see the other side of the room, and you can tell it's a big circular room. And you can't see, from where your angle is, you can't see a ceiling, but you can see it's just a perfect circle. And there's something in the center that's also circular. And from what you can tell, the ceiling is either very high or there is no ceiling. But it's dark. There's obviously there's no natural light in the room you're looking into. And while you're doing that, oh, is that why it's doing it? Okay, hold on. I should be able to just do it this way. I think one of my browsers thinks that I'm a player, not a DM, and so I think it's breaking things. So I'm gonna have to go to my other computer real quick, which is fine. I already had it pulled up. I just gotta grab you guys. Characters. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna try to put you guys in the map real quick. All right, so you are right there, and then Basil, you're next. And then Grigor, you're next.
I'm being grabbed.
I'm manhandling you.
I don't wanna.
Oh, no, wait, Talina's next.
I object.
I reject your reality and substitute my own. Okay. And then little Othwin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, if I can, I'm going to drag you guys over. I really hope this works because I had to do this kind of quick. You guys should see nothing.
I just see pure
Hell yeah, I'm blind.
Pure black? Okay.
Man, that's a whole lot of nothing.
That's a whole lot of nothing. Yeah.
That is
That's
a
a lot of
whole lot.
black.
Oh, they don't have like paintbrush? That's dumb.
For
Do they not?
for revealing fog of war? No, they have a polygon though.
Which I'm going to see if I can.
Oh yeah, you have to like select squares and shit.
That's okay. That's okay. This polygon will do
You
exactly what I
can
need
draw
to do.
shades, but it takes a while.
That's okay. I'm a pen tool
That's kind
master
of-
because of my job, so it's all good.
Yeah.
There's also I forget if it's Alt or Control or Shift, but there is a way to snap that to grid.
Cool. Well, I'm good for now, but you guys should be able to. Hold on.
All the way left, slightly below the top, guys.
Yep. I think I dragged you. Did I drag you?
Oh.
Oh my god.
I thought
Am
holding
I-
Alt.
what?
I thought holding
Oh.
Alt.
I was
Alt
I
thing
was
should
in the
drag
middle
us to
of,
DM.
That is a very
whoop.
big map.
yeah.
Yes, it's a very big
Um,
map.
Oh boy.
It's also pixelated for you guys for some reason, which it shouldn't be. So that's weird.
No,
No, that's
not
just map loading.
really.
Okay. All right.
no,
Cool.
it's not that bad.
Good. Okay.
Depends
That's
on how
fine.
zoomed in you are. It's fine.
Well, then works for me then. So, yeah. So, anyways, so Dax, now that I've gotten you guys here, as you peek in, this is what you see, Dax. Give me a second. This takes a second to do the drawing.
That's the reason, or one of the or maybe the only reason. I don't know. The subscription to Roll20 might be worth it because it actually allows it to do walls in like Fog of War and
Well-
reveals. Like if your character's in a certain place, they can actually see more.
I'm just gonna get Foundry, and life will be better.
Yeah.
So
You take Foundry as D&D.
you look in and you see this large circular room, and as you have like adjusted yourself to look in better, you notice that the big thing in the middle. And actually, what I'll say here is probably as you guys are kind of doing this, the dancing lights will come around and illuminated this a little bit more, and you notice that it's a pool. It's a large pool of water that takes up the entire center of this room. And you still can't see the ceiling because the doorway that you're in is kind of low enough that you can walk under it, but low enough that you can't see the ceiling in the room ahead of you unless you actually walk into the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you guys notice that, and obviously the people behind you can't see this yet.
Okay. Am I able to see, like, is there any other way into the room that I'm able to see?
You can see that. Right. Actually, I'll just do this to make it easier. This polygon tool is actually not that bad. Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I use most of the time.
Yeah, the squares would be nice, but the polygon's nice. You can see that right there. You can tell that there's a cutout in the wall. It's not perfectly circular on that side, and you can reasonably assume that there is a doorway right there.
Okay. Before I step into the room, Dax is real quick gonna inspect the doorway for like any signs of traps or anything like that.
Sure. Go ahead and roll me
Rogue's doing rogue things.
Rogue's doing rogue things. Yeah. Go ahead and roll me. Oh my gosh. Blank. Investigation. Yeah. Investigation. Oh my gosh. My brain. I remember how to play, guys. I promise. Oh shoot. I need to get my tablet. It has all my books on it.
I might be slightly distracted because I have learned that I have more than one mouse.
Okay, yeah. So you're very easily able to tell there's nothing in this doorway there's no traps, there's no danger to you. It is a doorway. There's no door. It's just an opening, but there's no danger in this particular doorway.
Okay.
There is no door. It is just way.
Yeah. Yes.
She is going to very carefully step into the room.
Okay. So go ahead and you should be able to move yourself.
I can't move my character.
Oh my gosh, roll 20. Stop. This breaks every single time. I can.
You might have to update our tokens.
I'm doing that right now. Yeah, Dax control.
And then save them back as the default ones. You don't get that problem next time.
It's fine. I mean, like I said, probably the next time we play, I'm hoping to be able to get Foundry, but we'll just have to see. It's money that I don't have, but we'll get
It's
there.
only one-time payment, right?
It is. It is. You buy the software and you're done, which is why I'd prefer to do that than paying for subscription with like Roll20 or something, because it's also a better piece of software. Okay. You should be able to move yourself now, at least Dax. I'm fixing everybody else, but cool.
So
I
she's
can
gonna
move
step
Castle,
into the
by
room
the way.
carefully.
Yeah, everybody. Oh, so Alexander's fine for some reason. He's always fine, but everybody else is always broken. Okay. So as you move into the room, you confirm that. Oh my gosh, yes, you guys can move. I see that. You confirm. Yeah, it's just a very big water-like. It's a big container of water that is in the middle of this circular room, and you can hear the occasional drip, drip, and then you see the little water droplets that are coming from the dark above you and just land in the water. And does Dax examine the room, look up, down, anything like that?
She does.
Okay. You would, I mean, without any sort of roll, you can tell it is a very simple room. There's nothing on the walls. It's just old stone all the way around, and straight above you, you can tell it goes up. There is no ceiling. It just goes up into darkness. And with your dark vision, you can't see above you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very, very big room. For the most part, it's probably about, I don't have to measure the thing. It's about 50, I'd say 45 feet across, give or take. And the pool alone, I mean, is pretty decently sized. It's about 25 feet across.
Okay. She's going to not necessarily yell, but loudly
have to
whisper
really
back
yell.
to them that it's good for them to step in.
Okay. You will notice that there is an echo in here, obviously. Like, there is clearly, every step has kind of, every voice or anything has like a ring to it.
As we enter the chamber,
Mhm.
the 4 dancing lights, I'll spread them out a bit.
Okay.
So that they light the entire room. They cannot be further than 20 feet from the nearest light.
Okay.
But I don't think that's a problem.
Shouldn't be in this room. It's not big enough.
Yeah, no, because I can spread them out.
You could literally
a bit.
spread them out, and they'd be within 20 feet of another light. Yeah, and it illuminates the room, and all of you can very clearly and easily tell it's a very big room, with a big pool of water in the middle. I'll say this: if at any point during any of this exploration during this session that you guys are like wanting to like question the environment around you of any kind, just say so, and I'll have you roll something based on where you're at, and we'll see what happens. But I say this because the map is very simple looking. please don't assume the environment is simple. It's just this is the map I found that worked for our purposes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
As I raise those lights, how far up does the ceiling go?
How far do your lights go?
I can have them. I believe I can have them up to 60 feet away from me. Let me double check.
Well, your dark vision's what, 120 feet?
120. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so with your dark vision, then you would see that there is a roof. It's just very high up, and at the center of that, in the center of this room, there's some sort of circular shape directly above the water, all the way up. And it's you
Like
can't.
a well shaft.
Roll me a. Oh my gosh, what's the one I want?
Perception.
Yeah, you know what? Roll me a perception. That would make sense. Yeah.
I'm trying to look for a thing.
Either that perception would work, or I could see investigation making sense.
Oh, my perception's a 16. Investigation would be worse, so I'll go with perception.
Okay, so you said a 16?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you can basically your lights flutter up into the room and illuminate the rest of the shaft, and the rest of you can kind of look up as the lights continue to illuminate. And those of you with dark vision, it doesn't make a difference because the illumination is there. But between the illumination of the 60 feet and then Talina, your dark vision, you can see it before everybody else does. But you see that hole and you realize, oh, this is a well. This is the bottom of some deep well, and this is the water source. It's kind of obviously it's odd because this is not how wells are traditionally built. It doesn't make sense that there'd be this big open room at the bottom and there wouldn't be a shaft all the way. But this is water and there's a hole in the ceiling, and you basically, oh, it's a well. And then as you're kind of making this discovery, you hear footsteps starting to get closer, and it's coming from right there. And
wow.
It sounds small and quick.
Dax has got her foot ready to punt.
And as Dax is rightfully assumed, little Spitwick comes scuttering into the room right through the doorway, and he rounds the corner like he's just expecting you to be there. And Dax has already positioned herself in the way, and Spitwick just comes around the corner, and he's not really paying attention, and he bumps right into Dax's legs. Just poof.
And she kicks.
Roll for an attack. By the way, this is not the first time she's done this. Roll for attack.
Gotta
find Dax.
unarmed, right?
Yeah, it'd be an unarmed, and I have to find Spitwick's character sheet. Hold on. I did all this a while ago. Okay.
At least you
The
have
first-
one now.
The first time I did it.
Yeah, the first time I didn't have anything.
At some point, Neon's just gonna go, okay, roll initiative.
Yeah, and it'll be a little Pokemon fight between Spitwick and Dax.
Right.
Oh, you miss. Yeah.
Wow.
So he bumps into you, and he goes, and he kind of backs up. And as he's backing up because he ran into you and he's rubbing his nose, you kick, and it goes right in front of him. And he's rubbing his nose so he doesn't see it. It is right in front of him, and he rubs his nose, and as he looks up, you've already repositioned yourself, and then he looks at you, but you're in a stance from having just kicked because your weight was shifted. And so he's hands are on his nose, his eyes are open, he's squinting, looking up at you, looking down at your legs and back up at you. And he just kind of does it a couple of times, legs, face, legs, face, legs, face, face. And he sits there and he's staring, and his hands come down, and he just crosses his arms, and he's just scour, what's the word? I can't think of the word when you're your face is all hunched up, whatever. But anyways, yeah, he's scowling. He's scowling at you, and he's just but he doesn't say anything.
He just shrugs.
Well, we're gonna go this way. And he's kind of he's looking at you, but he's holding his thumb over his shoulder towards the door he just came through, and he kind of leans over to the side to look around your legs and look at the rest of the group. Are y'all coming? We're gonna go this way.
Onwards then.
And as he
After
turns
you.
and he turns around, and he kind of keeps one eye on Dax as he kind of is turning his body, and then finally he lets his head turn, and he kind of wanders off through the doorway. I don't have a token for Spitwick. I do apologize. Actually, do I have a token?
Used to have one.
Did I?
I was about to say, didn't you have a token for it?
Maybe I did. Hold on. Let me see here.
I thought you did.
I reread the dancing lights spell, and apparently I can combine the 4 lights into a glowing, vaguely humanoid form of medium size. So that's what happens after we leave.
Well, that's cool and spooky all at the same time.
It's not just gonna be a 7th party member that's just casually walking by
Yeah.
our 2 non-dark visions.
It's like Vision from Marvel. I don't see a Spitwick token. I'll need. Wait, hold on. Did I make one and just not upload it? Let me check real quick before we go any further, because I honestly
sworn
don't
you had
remember.
one at some point.
I may have, to be honest with you, and quite frankly, I could make one, but it'll take me a few minutes. So I'll make one later. For now, let me just find a temporary token to throw in here, just to represent his position. I'm really surprised. I actually thought, because now that you say that, I thought I made one, but I guess I didn't.
No, because wasn't it on the legacy thing then? Did you have to like carry over?
Yeah, everything carried over. I think I may have, if I did have it, I may have removed it. I don't know.
Or it's on a different map. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the way
removed
Roll20
because there was
Go ahead.
not enough space for other things.
I did have to
Probably
clear out a lot of things to make room for one of the maps I was trying, and then ultimately I didn't end up using the map because it was actually too big and it didn't make sense. So, okay, well, I'm gonna use this little coin to represent Spitwick because I don't have anything else. So that's Spitwick. If it'll load. Why is it just a white square? Come on.
It's loaded for me.
Oh, okay. As long as it's loaded for you. One of my browsers is just being slow. So, for chat, this white square is in fact Spitwick. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. Okay, so Spitwick scurries off and disappears through the doorway. And as he disappears through the doorway, you hear him speaking loud enough that you can hear, but he's not yelling. He's like,
oh yeah, by the way, welcome to Old Darun. These are the catacombs underneath the city that make up the old city that was here before a great cataclysmic event buried it.
okay, and as you guys round the corner, let me go ahead and reveal more for y'all. Okay, so
Igor, are you staying behind Talina for a reason? Because I'm having the light be in front of me.
Okay, so as you guys round the corner, you find yourself in a obviously very dark hallway. There's no lights of any kind. Spitwick is kind of standing in the middle of this sort of intersection, where you can tell that there's a hall directly in front of you that goes straight. There's a hall off to your left that goes left, and there's a hall off to your right that goes right. Again, the walls and the floor, they feel old. Like everything is very, like, as Spitwick has just told you, feels ancient. It feels very sturdy. It doesn't feel like anything's going to crumble around you, but it's obviously very, very old. And it feels weird. You feel like you are inside of a very ornate, like how do I put this? It doesn't feel like you're in a cave. It feels like you're in a very well-built building that's just underground, and because you know you're underground. It's just kind of it almost feels like someone just took a building and just sunk it down into the ground. Spitwick stops in the intersection here and turns around and says,
all right, I'm going to be honest. This is as far as I've ever been. I come down here for water sometimes. We came down here once because we had a rat problem. But Casivus knows this more than I do. I actually don't know how to get where we need to go.
and he looks a little like bashful as he says this, but he's like,
But I can tell you this, where we're at, there shouldn't be any danger. There's nothing down here.
Dax is gonna kind of sigh and be like, useless.
he scowls at her again.
He says, but I think I might be able to help with something.
And he scurries up into the hallway over here, and he disappears through another doorway, like an archway. And from your distance, what's the distance on dark vision again?
60.
Oh, okay. I can reveal more for you. Hold on. I keep thinking
Yeah.
it's 40. So hold on.
And a
question-
120 for me, so given I'm standing
Just-
here, I can see
Yeah.
way out this way.
So
A question, quick.
Sure.
What direction from Casivus's place were we meaning to go?
what do you mean? Like
we're supposed to go to the
main
manor.
direction?
Yeah, main cardinal direction. What direction are we looking for?
By the way, ignore that D and U. That's from the original map creator. So main cardinal direction from Casivus's is east and then northeast, essentially. So you're because Casivus, as you know, is deep in the heart of Riverside, and Riverside is basically, I can pull up the map for you again, but you should have access to the
Yeah, we have it up in
I was
the-
just asking because
Yeah.
A,
So
would we have become disoriented being underground?
you would
not
already
knowing
be a
our
little
direction?
disoriented because of the
Okay.
twists and turns you go through when you're in the city of Riverside. You're not actually sure when you enter Casivus's place which direction like you're facing when you go through the doorway. Because it's like twisting and turning through city streets and then in an alleyway and then a secret door and then you're in a dark enclosed like lavish den and then you went down and stuff. So it's like
Yeah, I
Guess
was
you could
about
make
to
a
ask.
survival
I was
check
just
if you
gonna
get
say-
track of that.
if
I
you
was
want to make
gonna
a survival
ask-
check,
That as well, I know there's probably a feat that I don't know if anybody's taken, or like a class or racial feature
Feat.
that keeps you knowing what direction is cardinal direction, but I don't know if that was a thing that has
I
occurred.
believe that's a dwarf thing.
Okay.
Dwarf.
But no, I'm also assuming that the map orientation, unless told otherwise, is north is up.
in this map, north is up.
Okay.
Yeah, for the sake of you guys, north is up.
But we don't know that.
But you don't,
we
know,
don't
that.
know that.
Yeah, so technically
That's
speaking,
all I
and,
had
and
to ask.
yeah, and for right now, you're facing like you just came out of this doorway, and directly in front of you, directly in front of your guys' line of sight, Spitwick is now standing next to this very large column that has these sort of carvings around the sides of it. In the center of this room, and then as you guys look left, you see another circular room off to your left that you can see another column, and then on your right another column, and then Talina, because of your dark vision, you can see way in the distance past that central room is another room that's circular with another column in the center of it. And Spitwick has walked up to this center column in the middle of this room, and he taps the column a couple times and he motions for you guys to come over because you guys are what 30 feet away from him. So and at this point everyone's been trying to keep their voices kind of hushed, including Spitwick. So so Bass, it looks like you're approaching Spitwick.
I was
For your
just
own.
hoping somebody in my line of sight, since
Yeah.
I cannot see very well.
So Spitwick is patting the column and he's like looking at you, motioning for you guys to come over to it.
I'm keeping the dancing light as close to the non-dark visions as possible.
Okay, that's fine.
While staying behind them, so
So,
they are
for-
not blinded by it.
How much space do they illuminate? Like how much?
They each have a 10-foot sphere, but I can spread them out as well.
Okay, so what I'm going to do to make this easy then, I'm going to assume that the dancing lights, the way they're spaced out, is that the non-dark vision people have the same visual distance as the dark vision people, just to keep things easier for me. And then if we have to change that, we can, but that'll just make things a little bit easier. So, as you guys kind of come up upon this this call, and you guys can obviously like walk around each other and spread out a little bit. Like you don't have to all kind of cram up on stuff if you want. But Spitwick passed the column, and he like kind of looks up at it, and it's this tall column that goes up to the ceiling, and it has these carvings on it. It has these little like almost like branches that come out of it at various points all over it. Like it looks like a stone tree if it was drawn by like a 6-year-old. It was just basically a big column with like lines coming out of it at various points. And there's carvings that go linear across it. There's carvings that kind of are more ornate, all sorts of stuff. But it looks like gibberish essentially. But he pats it. He looks at you, and he goes,
Apparently, according to what I know, is this column here. If you do something with it, it's supposedly supposed to light your way.
I have
And he
a
kinda shrugs.
question.
"What's up?"
Does it possibly look like a language? Because I have 3 others besides common to think between.
If you want to go ahead and roll an investigation check. I think that makes sense. Hang on, what'd you get?
I am able to read it. It's very, very damaged.
Yeah, to you, I'm gonna be honest. You look at it, it looks like etchings. It literally just looks like a bunch of etchings on a column. Same thing, Dax. It just looks like people just were carving into it because they were bored. Like, and as far as you're concerned, you're like how people just carved into it because they wanted to.
Okay.
It doesn't look
Does
artistic.
it have to be investigation or can it be history?
If you want to roll a history check, you can roll a history check.
I'm gonna say if
Oh,
it
which one
looks
is
like a
next?
language that I would know, I would assume I'd be able to read it. But
Grigor rolled a investigation. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Grigor, same. To you, it just kind of looks like just random scribblings. But to Alexander, you look at it, and
I have to actually squeeze in there.
yeah. Okay, so here we go. So real quick, Othman, you look at it and you go, oh, there's patterns to this. It looks like it doesn't look random. It looks artistic. It looks like someone was like there's a flow to it. It looks pretty. Like your eye catches it. You go, oh, that looks pretty. Like that actually looks genuinely appealing. Like I want to keep looking at it. And while Othman's kind of enamored and getting closer to it and like looking up at it like almost in awe, Alexander, you're looking at it and goes, oh, this is art. Like this is clearly an artistic expression of something. Like you're not sure what, but it's not just random. There is definitely patterns and motion to it. It's not a language. You can tell it doesn't say anything, but it is very much as you kind of look it over and are taking it in as a whole, what's on the side of these things, along with the pieces that jut out of it, it's this very beautiful design, very abstract. It doesn't make a picture or anything, but it looks like there's patterns to all this. But then, Othwin and Alexander both, you start to notice that the sections, so the carvings in it, as I mentioned, there's those linear lines that go across it, and you realize it's actually layers. From floor to ceiling, the column has multiple layers that are separated by a carving that goes all the way around it in a circle, and the etchings and lines on those different layers are like different on each layer. And with that good of an investigation check, Othwin, you'd realize that they're not lining up. That it should make a really pretty picture, and it is pretty, but you realize it's not complete. Like it's like a puzzle. Like if something's not connecting. There's nothing. There's lines that should be connecting that aren't. And this goes from the floor to the ceiling all the way up. And the ceiling's about this particular room is probably about 10 feet tall, maybe 10-ish feet tall.
With that, kind of knowledge in her head, I'm gonna walk over to Alexander. She's going to try to reach his hand and put it onto the thing and try to get him to move it.
So you went to Alexander and did this?
Yes.
Okay. So Alexander Rothman's come over and done that. What do you do?
I was gonna jokingly make an investigation check to figure out what the fuck she's trying to do.
You can if you want, because she's not talking to you.
Insight.
Oh yeah, you know what? Insight would be better actually. Yeah, do that.
Insight.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an insight. And actually, Othman, go roll me a performance.
I got the exact
I know
same
performance
roll.
seems a little strange. But roll me a performance check, since you're doing an action trying to relay something, and he has to. Okay, so his insight is better than your performance. So yes, so you can very easily tell Alexander what Othman is trying to get you to do. It's very clear to you that she's trying to get you to do something. And from here, because you guys have done that, Othman, you basically can tell him what to do, and Alexander, then you would know what you need to do.
Right then.
Yeah. So Othman,
you verbally tell you.
Yeah. So like
she's going to literally grab his hand and try to get him to move it because she's literally not strong enough.
Yeah. And like I said, you would be able to perceive exactly what she's trying to get you to do.
I will just give like a slight nod to her, and I will try to move it in the direction that she wants me to.
Okay. So, which direction do you want him to move it? Counterclockwise or clockwise?
Can I look at the thing again and see which way I need it to move?
So you rolled a 17 on the investigations. Yeah. You know what? You'd glance back at it, and you'd go, I wonder if I should move it clockwise.
Right, then I'm going to have his hand go clockwise.
Okay. So yeah. So Alexander, you move it, and just like a clock. So you're moving it left to right, or so right to left. I'm sorry, and you hear it. It's a little stuck at first, but you can feel that you're pushing on it, but it's not moving right away. But you tell it's supposed to. You can tell that it is intended to move, and so you give it another good push, and it turns, and it kind of turns not freely, like it's not just going to spin like a top. But you can tell you can keep spinning it until you choose to stop. It's not like you push it for a second and you don't feel any sort of resistance, no sort of clicks, no sort of latches or anything. It just kind of keeps spinning. So you can choose to stop it. But as it's spinning, you're looking at it. And go ahead and roll, Alexander. Go ahead and roll me a. You know what? Just roll me a straight D20.
Straight D20.
Yeah, just roll me a straight D20.
Fuck, how do I roll on is it just roll on the 1d20?
I think it's let's see, hold on.
/R space d20.
Thank you.
Slash.
/R.
No, there we go.
Well, there you go. I think you did it.
Sorry, yes, you did. I'm just writing down notes as I do this.
I made a mistake a couple months ago when I was playing a different game where I just
Wow,
I just wrote the number 20 and the bot just outputted 20. I was like, wait, that's not right.
That's hilarious, actually. Okay. So in conjunction with that, Othwin, can you roll me a perception? Yeah, roll me a perception, please. Also, this is the first time I've ever done like puzzles and stuff, so please bear with me. Perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, so Othwin, you're watching him as he's pushing, and Alexander, you realize, oh, this is okay. I understand this now. I'm pushing this, and you're watching, and right at the same time, Othwin, that you realize lines are about to line up on 2 different layers, and out of curiosity, out of all the layers, so I would say, let's see, this is about 10 foot tall each layer. It's about, so I would say there's 5 layers to this thing that you can interact with. That you realize that there's something going on here with like some sort of bar or something and patterns and whatnot. There's 5 layers. Which layer did you have him start with, Othwin? The lowest layer to the ground or some other layer?
It's going to be the one, because she has to reach up to get his hand.
Okay.
It's going to be the one that's in between where she grabs his hand and her, like in that area.
Well, based on that,
not
then
quite the floor yet, or is it at the floor level?
it would be it'd be a little bit above your head, basically. Would be the lowest one.
Okay, so yeah, that one would be the one.
Okay, cool. So it's the bottom one then. So so as you're moving this, at the same time, Alexander, that you realize, oh, I understand how this works. And Othwin, you're watching the patterns line up. The pattern that's on the column below this section, it's part of the column. It doesn't move. You see the lines start to line up, and just as it's about to hit there, you kind of look up at him and just kind of start fluttering your wings. And Alexander, you notice that at the same time, and you feel like the lever, like the whole wheel didn't stop. You felt like it just settled into something. Like it was moving, and then it just kind of like a lock in a tumbler or tumbler in a lock. It doesn't stop moving. It could keep moving, but you feel it ever so slightly go, and you stop and you let it go, and you realize that the lines on this layer have now connected with some of the lines and patterns on the column below it, and you realize, everyone all at the same moment is watching this, realizes, wait a minute, the patterns on the layers will connect with the patterns below it to make a bigger image.
It's gonna take a half step back, look at it, look at everyone else, shrug, and then continue on the layer above it, doing the same thing.
Yeah, to the moment like the puzzle like clicked in her mind, Telena's just like grabbing the second from the bottom, looking at Athwin, and starts rotating it counterclockwise until she gives any kind of indication of now you stop.
So I want to confirm. So the first one he rotated clockwise. Talina, are you rotating the second one clockwise or counterclockwise?
She's left-handed, so she'd push it to the left, so that'd be clockwise.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead and roll me a d20.
Wrong green die. That's a 6.
Okay. So you start to spin it, and you feel like, and here's the thing, because of how big this column is, when you're spinning it, you have to walk with it.
Oh,
and you realize as you push the lever, because you're spinning literally around the column, like it's spinning, not like a wheel on the side of the column, it's part of the column, and you literally push this, and you find you just went all the way around the column, and you didn't feel anything, and none of the lines, to your perception, lined up. It didn't make any sense.
And I didn't see Athwin.
No
Or anything either.
No. Now I will say this: anyone who's watching this, if you'd like to roll, so here's your options as we continue through this. If you want to figure out what the next move is, want to roll an investigation. If you're trying to observe the column and figure something out by observation, roll a perception check. And if you're going to just interact with it, I just want you to roll a straight d20. But you also have to tell me which layer you're grabbing and which direction you're pushing it.
Was the investigation one?
Investigation is you actually want to like
Figure out the
How
stuff.
if you actually want to
already doing.
if you want to figure out, mess with it, and figure out what the solution is. Perception, if you just want to observe the column and see if you can perceive something from looking at it. And then if you want to just interact with it and actually try to push it and try to make an attempt at like spinning it, you're gonna roll a d20. Okay, so you rolled an investigation. Okay. So, Othwin, since you were the one who kind of figured this out to begin with, you're like, I got this. But then you see Talina do the same thing, and nothing happens. None of the lines seem to line up. You didn't hear any clicks. You didn't feel anything. And so you're a little perplexed. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. And so you rolled an 11. Yeah, you're just like, huh, that's odd. She did the exact same thing. What's wrong? What's different between this layer and the layer below it? And you kind of sit there and you're kind of just thinking. You're not really sure. You recognize something's wrong, and it should work, but it didn't, and you can't quite figure out why.
She's gonna step back from it and just stare at it, and just like keep thinking.
Sorry. Bitwig said that this is supposed to light up the path, right?
He said this will illuminate your path. Yes.
I look around the chamber we're in and the hallways ahead. Do I see any kind of torches or anything?
So you're looking. Can you specify where? Can you specify where you're looking?
The walls around us. If there's any kind of like thing that could be a light source that is currently off, like a lantern or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the immediate start of the hallways as well.
Okay.
Around us.
Actually, hold on. Let me do something to help you guys out, because now that you're in this room, I just realized you guys would actually be able to see. Hold on.
Yeah, I can see far everything.
Yeah. You guys would be. Oh, thank you for the 85 months, Isaiah.
I just want to point out, Basil would definitely lend his strength to turning whatever dial needs to be turned.
Well, something you guys all realize very quickly, the dials don't need a lot of strength to turn. Like the first initial one, you kind of have to break the dust loose, per se. But the dials don't, like, you're watching these people, like Alexander and Selena did this one-handed. Like, it did not take a lot of effort once they started turning to turn it much more.
I was just getting over that initial, like,
yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So
then you have the burb who can't reach them.
Yeah. Talina, can you put your from where you're standing, or from? Actually, you know what?
Well,
yeah,
I've walked all around the.
Okay.
So
can you from the center of that column, dead center? Can you run your measuring thing 120 feet straight up?
Straight up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Off the map.
Okay. Cool. So then, yeah. Hang on. No, that's fine.
I can go here, I think. One less than there.
Okay, there you go. So you can see all the way up through that tunnel then. Cool. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just trying to make sure everybody can see what they need to see. Okay, so backing up to that, Othwin, you said you're backing up to look at it again. What else was going on?
I was checking for mechanical, or any kind of like light source that is currently off that would turn on.
Oh, gotcha. That's right. So
see if it was like an arcane thing, or if it was mechanical.
Yeah. So you don't actually see. Go ahead. Did you roll me I guess investigation or perception? I guess I could make an argument for both. It kind of depends on how you're doing this. Are you just like observing the room around you, or are you actually trying to Yeah,
I'm looking along the walls to see if there's anything that
gotcha
would become a light source. Yeah. Investigation.
Investigation.
+1. I was gonna say +4, but that's intimidation. 14 + 1 is a 15.
Okay. 1 second here.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Which way did Talina move it?
Clockwise.
The same
way. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, just making sure. I was checking something. Okay, so you said you rolled a 15. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so with the 15, you can see that there's no lanterns, there's no torches, there's no, there's nothing physical in the room. There's no like anything that's jutting out from the walls. It looks like it could be a light source. However, as you're running your hand along one of the walls, I'd say probably like right where you're standing, actually. Like as you're finishing your search and you're running your hand along the wall, you're like, man, there's nothing. You feel your hand go over something that doesn't feel like stone. It looks like stone. It doesn't feel like stone. It feels smoother. Feels colder. And
I knock on it. Is it hollow?
No. If you knock on it, it sounds glass. It sounds like if you knocked on a glass pane, like a window. But it looks like, as you're looking at it, it looks like stone. And as you look at it a little bit closer, you realize that it looks like stone, but it's like an indentation of like the side of a lantern, but it's in the wall.
Okay. I think I can see where these lights are coming from.
Wait, did we
Will
lose?
be
Hold on,
coming
we
from.
lose Monhold?
Did we lose?
He's not
He
showing.
said he would be right back.
Oh,
They
he's
say
not
he'll
even in
BRB
Discord.
and then he dipped.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, in that case, I don't want to like play without him. So, I don't.
Take a
don't
little
even,
break.
Yeah, let's take a couple minute break just because he's gone. I don't want him to miss things because it's
Break.
like big stuff. So,
Excellent.
bathroom break, bio break, get something to drink, get something to eat real quick. We'll wait until he gets back. What was that? Little Jawas. Ooh, tiny.
Does somebody have a soundboard in Discord?
I think he does.
Yeah.
Roger, Roger.
Okay.
What else do you do when no one's talking? Okay, last one.
And let me see what you have. No!
Amazing.
When I find the time to get back to my crib, that's just gonna be her with a knife.
I like how we're getting a mouse update. There's more than one. All right, I will say this to clarify things.
Right.
So the room that you guys, so the entire scape that you guys are in, the ceiling, I didn't define this. The ceiling and everywhere that you've been is no higher than about 10, maybe 11 feet tall, okay? At its highest. All of the walls are stone, cobblestone, sort of like very clearly man-made or some sort of man-ish made construction, but everything's old. There's a little bit of moss here and there. There's cracks. There's a little bit of rubble here and there in case. Obviously very, very old, but everything appears sturdy. The column obviously stood out. It obviously is made of the same material. It looks very similar in construction, but it's much more ornate than the walls. You've seen no like tangible light source that can be interacted with. Like I said, there's no like free hanging lanterns. There's no torches being slung on the walls. Things like that. To clarify, so Talina, you can see all the way out here. And from your vision, it's just sort of a tunnel that goes from like cobblestone and like nice walls and stuff, and it just kind of starts to collapse a little bit, and it looks like it's collapsed in on itself at the end, and this tunnel just is it's a dead end. This column here in this room appears very similar to the ones in this one and this one here. You can easily tell that there is like here and here. Like you can tell that it keeps going. You can kind of see it. Obviously, you can't see around corners, but you can tell that it doesn't just end. That there's more there. Same thing on the bottom down here. Everybody can see that this is an intersection of some kind, and then also the same here. So that is the clarity I can provide to you before Monhole gets back.
I think I got back at the exact correct time. The first thing I heard you say is Talina. So
Oh.
whatever you said before that, I didn't catch, but that's fine. So yeah, it looks similar, but it crumbles away at the end, which the picture kind of looks like. So that makes sense. North path, that is. And yeah, between the where's my there we go. Between like having seen this like that way and that way, I can gather that this is probably the hallway that connects.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
That's
haven't
fair.
seen the entire hallway, but like yeah, it makes sense mental mapping wise.
Yeah, sure.
My brain is like, what can I do with this glass? But also, I don't want to focus on that because that's not the mechanism we're working with. I was just wondering if making an Arcana check would be useful, and I'm like, no, this is a mechanical puzzle. It's not gonna help.
Yeah. He's still online in Discord, but
Oh.
I'm wondering if something came up.
Hi, buddy.
Is that the mouse you're talking to?
It's one of them, yes. I have discovered there's more than one. Because as I was trying to take a picture of one, another one ran past me. Oh, it's at least two.
I would be freaking out if I was you.
Hey, they're cute.
They're not.
Yes, they are. They're not rats, they're mice.
I don't care.
They know. They're more afraid of me than I'm of them.
I mean that is true.
I'm armed. I have a broom right here.
Damn.
My lovely wife just brought me Cajun chicken pasta, and it is quite tasty.
Nice.
Wife.
Yeah. So if they were that size, I'd be worried too, Jess. For chat, there's a GIF in our table Discord channel that has like a mouse that's about the size of.
Yeah, that's a rat. Like that's 1,000% a rat.
But like
Oh, hands
the
down
size
rat.
of these mice is about the size of the head of that
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
creature.
When a
there.
rat, like, because rats can go up and down like sewage drains, and it's terrifying.
I don't know how they breathe.
They can hold their breath underwater for a stupid long time.
Which is
Can they
strange,
hold their breath
they
in
have two
gasoline?
lungs.
I don't think so.
Ooh. Power surge, those suck.
Actually, funny story. On the Ratatouille DVD, there was a special feature that was like the history of rats, basically, and there was a whole thing on like how rats can hold their breath and climb through sewer drains, and anything they can fit their head into, they can fit themselves into, and stuff like that. It was actually very cute and very informative.
Burn it with fire.
I didn't say I wanted one. I just said it was informative.
I'm just saying, burn it with fire.
Apparently rats make really good pets.
They do make very good pets, from what I've heard.
Would I own one? No. I think my cats would throw a hissy fit if I had rats.
I can understand why.
I think my cats would be afraid of the rats.
Probably also true.
Oh, there we go. I was looking for a picture that has a proper scale and I couldn't find one. But Wikipedia for the win. I just had to look up the Latin name for them. But yeah, they're about yay big.
Okay, that's cute.
Got field mouse.
Yeah, that's what we called them too.
Like the one time my cat was fighting a mouse. It was fun.
Fighting a mouse? Jeez.
Yeah, we used to have a cat in this home, but the guy who brought the cat has left, so the cat went with him.
The mice have
I
found
don't know about like fighting. I don't remember. It was like 15 years ago now. We were in a village house. There was like a mouse, and the cat was just kind of playing with it. And then
okay, there's
he'd
difference
catch
between
it
playing with
and
and fighting it, because I'm picturing Tom and Jerry Little fighting.
I think he did end up killing it, and when we did have a bunch of dead mice just over time, because they hunted him. But like, I just remember this very distinct image of he caught the mouse, was on his paws, and then he just stopped paying attention to it, like doesn't give a fuck, and then it escaped, and he starts chasing it again.
Our cat killed a mouse not long ago and decided to hide it under the rug in the kitchen.
Nice.
Perfect. I have a chat popped out on my computer. For some reason, I closed that window.
I can't figure emojis out.
I saw him on hold typing, then he stopped typing.
He did.
Yeah, he said. Oh no, you already responded to that one.
Oh yeah, no, he was typing as you were the little dragon emotes. I saw him typing after that. Also, so chat, as clarity, we are waiting on our players. They had a power surge and lost internet and power for a minute, so we're waiting for him to be able to come back.
Chat.
Don't you have a nice looking BRB screen?
Oh, I do. Thank you.
It's like I looked down at my phone. I'm like, wait, that doesn't. That looks like we're still like
It does, yes.
live.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we also didn't know how long he was going to be gone.
Fair. But I mean, if you have a screen that looks as awesome as that, why not use it, right? Why am I getting... Twitch, why are you tutorializing me about how channel points work?
Neon.
I've been around for a bit. I know how they
Yes.
work, thanks.
I know you don't have it yet, but have you tried just kind of playing with the free version of Foundry?
Not yet. I'm going to.
Okay, because there's a system I'm looking for, but it's not like on the website. It's on GitHub, so I don't know how to like integrate it.
Wait, which system?
I want to run. I'm gonna run a Star Wars Saga Edition game, but it's not on Foundry and it's obscure as hell. But somebody kind of made it custom and uploaded all the stuff to GitHub. But like, I don't know how that, like, if it actually works or not.
It should, yeah, because the way Foundry works is you're running it off of your own computer. So the way GitHub, the person probably made it on GitHub, you probably package it in such a way that in Foundry you just like upload your own like game template, I would assume, and they probably have packaged it so you just upload it as a file, and it will probably format everything correctly. Because I know that some people used to do that for other game systems in Foundry that didn't exist.
I'm gonna see if I can do that on demo version, if it works or not. Because I'm set on using Roll20 for now, and it works just fine, and I can pay the subscription, whatever,
Sure.
if I need to. But one-time purchase is a better deal, obviously. So,
Well,
like long-term, especially.
now the thing you have to remember with Foundry is Roll20 you play off of the internet, like it's hosted through Roll20, so anyone can log in at any time and update a character sheet or check things or whatever. Foundry only works if the host has it turned on, or if they're hosting it through an actual web server and they're paying for it. So for our purposes, I will only have the game up when I boot it up from my computer. So you guys won't be able to access the game unless I have physically turned it on my machine.
I should look into what resources you need to spin up a Foundry server.
I
might
don't
be
think
able to
much.
throw it on AWS.
You should be able
So
to.
I have a server doing nothing. Hello?
Ah, he has returned. Are you back, Monhold? Maybe.
They're not
Might
all
still
done yet.
be reminiscent of
Yeah.
internet issues.
Yeah, maybe I'll like his internet may be back, but it's just like rebooting everything. He's typing. Okay. Yep. No. You're good. You're good. Just making sure. You can hear
I'm
us
eating
though, right?
chicken. We're in no rush.
I just want to make sure he can hear us because sometimes Discord's weird. Like it'll throw you back in the voice chat you were in, but like you can't hear anything yet.
Oh, well, you can host a dedicated headless server. Lovely.
Must be having some major issues. By the way, for the sake of clarity, I've kind of thrown out the idea. This is actually a one-shot. This is a mini campaign because I've just given up on trying to like just speed run stuff. We're just gonna now that I'm done with my wedding and everything. We're just gonna play till we can till we get to the end.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I had already decided that that was a thing since session 4.
I mean,
Yeah, I was about to say.
to be fair, The intention was to actually have the story, because I did have an ending like wrapped up by the time we hit my wedding, but that didn't happen. So now I'm like, well, now there's no reason to like rush it. Let's just play.
Yeah,
So-
we kind of threw
could've
that out.
worked, I
We
don't
kind
know.
of threw the idea of going on a certain path out day
Mhm.
one.
Pretty much, which is fine. I'm actually having a lot of fun. And
It's good
I'm getting to
topic.
try new things. Like tonight, we're trying puzzles for the first time, which I'm excited about. Okay, we're back. So,
Yeah.
all right. Bonhole, you didn't miss a whole lot. All I really did was describe the environment. I don't know when you actually dropped from Discord. So, what was the last thing that you heard so I can try to fill you in?
Are they back in Roll20?
Oh, he's not in Roll20. I guess he's still
No, he's not-
reconnecting.
Yeah, he's not in roll 20 yet.
And internet
His
must have
stuff
been
must be-
kiboshed.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do to help? Like, I mean, obviously, if it's internet being internet, then no, but...
Apparently we're having a dance party.
Make a fundraiser, get him better internet.
Or just the UPS, really. If it was a power surge, better internet's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what? That makes sense. That's why I'm not an engineer.
I mean, that's at least you acknowledge it.
I'm that good, yeah.
I was actually watching
And humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, so humble.
I was doing a VOD of a streamer a couple of weeks ago, and he has a UPS for his entire like studio setup. Like even his room lights are wired into the UPS.
Wow.
And the UPS started beeping that there was more power going out than there was going in.
Oh, jeez.
But he looked at the numbers and went, "No, you're at half capacity. You're charging. Why are you beeping at me?" And then it just decided to cut.
Nice. That's fun.
So the house had power, but his studio didn't, because the uninterruptible power supply decided to interrupt the power.
Sounds like a great uninterruptible power supply.
Yeah, we love that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so yeah, so the second session, I'll kind of back up a little bit. The second section of the column did not match up, and Othwing was kind of intrigued by it, and she kind of is taking a step back to look at it. Talina didn't know what she did wrong. I did describe the environment of the area a little bit. Basically, all of these halls are a very old sort of cobblestone sort of construction. They are very clearly some sort of construction. It is not natural. The ceilings are about 10 or so feet, maybe 11 feet high at its highest point. The columns in the entire area do look like they are of similar construction to the walls, but obviously they're carved in such a way that they look a little more ornate, a little more unique. The columns that your group has seen so far all seem to be similar from a distance, seem to be similar. That's, I mean, you can't tell without getting up close, but they all seem to be kind of similar. Talina did try to see if she could feel and or find any sort of light sources that she could interact with in the rooms. She did not find anything. There was no torches, there was no free hanging lanterns, but she did find this sort of indentation in the rock that by all accounts looks like stone, but when she tapped on it with her finger or her knuckle, it sounded like glass. And when you kind of look at it, it looks almost like a carving of a pane of glass, but it also looks like stone. And that was about as far as we got till we realized you were out of the call. Oh, and Grigor's back in Roll20.
What's up?
Okay, you can see everything. You're good, Grigor?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, all right, back at it then. So, let me turn this back on. There we go. Okay, so Othwin, you're kind of looking at the column and trying to figure out what's going on with it. Selena, you realized that something didn't work, so you backed away from it and started looking for glass and whatnot. But yeah, the first section seems to have lined up with the carvings that are on the base of the column, but the second section was spun clockwise and didn't latch into anything. The lines didn't, for some reason, they didn't seem to line up. It didn't make sense. And Spitwick is just staring at it with his hand stroking his beard, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. You can see that his look on his face sees nothing.
found the
question.
light, or what's supposed to be the light, as she taps on the glass again.
Yeah, and you guys are all kind of perplexed and surprised that she's like, oh, she's tapping on stone, but it sounds very glass-like.
Dax would kind of like scratch the side of her head.
I have a really interesting thought. Since I have to recast Dancing Light every minute anyway, on the next recast, I want to put one of the balls behind the glass,
Okay.
because it's technically an open space I can see.
You
Or-
can't see through it. That's the thing. It looks like stone, but when you tap it, it sounds like glass, but you can't see the other side of it.
Just stone glass.
Let me double check if it's vision. No, it just says within range.
Okay.
Technically, that means you can cast a
Yeah.
dancing light inside somebody.
It does,
Sorry,
yeah.
what?
But it's not a physical thing. So it doesn't actually do anything.
Listen. Let's save those ideas for when, possibly evil.
Dax's response, I'm sorry, what? Like, oh, that is too good.
Well, listen, you need to see if there's any internal bleeding. It's a very good medical use.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
And
you
the
want
heart, you know.
so you want to recast dancing lights on the other side of this glass-like stone.
Yeah, I'll have 3 of the balls just around me, but one of them I'm gonna see if I can put it
Okay.
just a little bit.
Can you hold on?
Inside.
Give me 1 second. I need to see this spell real quick. Spells, dancing lights. Where are you?
I can read the spell out loud if you want.
Yeah, can you read it out loud for me? Because I'm not seeing
Okay,
it.
so it's a range 120 feet, concentration up to a minute. You create up to 4 torch-sized lights within range, making them appear as torches, lanterns, or glowing orbs that hover in the air for the duration. You can also combine the 4 lights into one glowing, vaguely humanoid form of medium size. Whichever form you choose, each light sheds dim light in a 10-foot radius. And as a bonus action on my turn, I can move them up 60 feet to a new spot within range, but they must all be
Okay.
within 20 feet of each other.
Okay. All right. And it just says, okay. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to roll me. Oh, what is it? How does it work again? What's your spell modifier? Like, because you're a
Bard. So
a bard.
Probably charisma. So
Okay.
it's a +3 unless I get my proficiency modifier, which I probably do. So it's a +5.
Oh, well, for saving throws, you do. Okay.
Yeah, but
so
I'm proficient. Oh yeah, the spell attack is +5. Yeah,
okay.
because I'm proficient.
Let's do this. I want you to roll me a d20 and add your +3 modifier because this is not an attack. So I want you to roll me a d20 plus your +3 modifier.
Going to use that heroic inspiration you gave me because I'm not rolling a 2 on this. 8, that's better. So 8 + 3 is 11.
11? Okay. So you go to cast your dancing lights again. Like everyone in the room, you feel the dancing lights kind of dissipate for a second as she has to and you realize she has to recast it. You see Talina. How do you cast dancing lights, by the way? Is it an incantation? Is it sort of a hand movement? What do you do to cast dancing lights?
It's VSM, so I need to say something and do a motion, which for her is snapping her fingers, and she's humming a little it's a little ditty.
Okay. Okay, so you guys
And then
see
she
her.
snaps her fingers. Usually 4 orbs or one humanoidish shape
Okay.
appears.
Okay, so you guys see her do this, and you guys have seen her do this multiple times at this point. And she goes to do it, and she's looking at the wall, at the spot that she's found this sort of shape, and she's looking at it, and the dancing lights appear, and 3 of them appear in the room like normal, and the 4th one, you see her looking at the wall, and it appears right in front of your face on this side of the wall. It doesn't actually go behind the glass. And it's like right in your face
well.
because you're like all open. It's like poof, right in front of your face.
Worth a shot.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's worth a shot. Yeah, good looking out.
As I just drift them back to where they were to illuminate the entire room.
Yep. So the room is now completely illuminated. And yeah, so Othwin, you've been staring at this column trying to figure out what the difference is. Does Othwin figure anything out? Does she want to try something or?
There's something I want to try.
Okay, go for it.
Who's the other shortest person that she can get on top of?
If I'm not mistaken, I think all of you guys are around the same height, right? Within, I think Talina's kind
the,
of tall,
the
but
spit guy.
She's
Spit
Spitwick.
weak.
well, yeah,
Spitwick?
Spitwick.
Hey, Spitwick, come here, buddy. Oswald's gonna go to Spitwick.
So he's
Getting
staring at the
behind him
column, and he looks
first.
over and sees the owl approaching. He's like, "What? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
So she goes behind him, pushes him forward towards the column, closer to the column first.
And he kind of like poof, kind of like face first into the column. What was that
Close
for?
enough for her. She's gonna crawl on top of his head.
Why are you on? What are you? And he's like, what? And so now, are you on his head or his shoulders? Like your
Head.
So he's like, ow! What are you? Your claws hurt. What are you doing? And he's like trying not. Now that you're on, he's like trying to like get you off, and also like balance you. So he's just kind of like, what are you doing? And he's just kind of wobbling beneath you. Roll me an athletics check, please. No, not athletics. Acrobatics, I believe. I always mix those two up. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so you're able to maintain balance on top of his head as he's wobbling beneath you. I gave you an easy DC on that one because it's hilarious to me. But
So what I'm gonna get to the one that Talina had moved.
okay, so that's the
gonna do-
second layer.
Counterclockwise instead of clockwise.
Okay, so you're gonna go the other
See what
direction.
happens.
All right, so as per usual, roll me a d20. Okay, so you guys watch as Othwin has scurried over, pushed Spitwick up against the wall, which has caused Talina to giggle under her breath, and no one has seen her giggle. And Spitwick hits the wall. She scurries up along his back, gets on top of his head, is wobbling on his head. She grabs the lever that Talina has pushed all the way around, completely 360 degrees around this column, and is moving it now counterclockwise instead of clockwise. So it's moving it from left to right. And she can only move it a little bit before Spitwick is no longer beneath her, but Spitwick kind of sees what she's doing and kind of like crab walks to the right so that he's able to stay underneath her as she's pushing. And it's this sort of shimmy effect where he'll crab walk to the right, and then Othman will push the lever a little bit and kind of be off balance, and he'll get underneath her, and it's just like this but it seems to be working. Like Spitwick realizes what you're doing. Othman, you're pushing it, and as you're pushing it around, all of a sudden you're and it very, very softly rests into place. And you realize from your very weird angle, you see one of the lines seems to be matching up. And any of you that are behind her that are looking at this have seen that multiple lines and patterns around that second layer do seem to line up with the layer beneath it.
Still on top of Spitwick, she's going to try to wave to somebody. She doesn't care who comes towards her. She's flapping one of her wings. Like, hey, someone come here. Anybody, come here.
Vassal will approach.
She's going to point to the next one up and point and try to, kind of direct it to go clockwise.
Vassal will follow the demands of the little
verb
roof owl, just spasming the pointing direction, and just grab the right column that is getting pointed at, and start turning it that direction.
What direction?
The direction that
Clockwise.
clockwise.
Okay, roll me a d20, please.
And that was the middle one of the 5.
This is now middle. Yeah, this is layer 3.
Flat 11.
Okay. So as you're moving it, you realize, this is the first time you've manipulated it, and you realize how little strength is actually needed to move these things, and you can easily do it with one hand. And it seems to move pretty freely, and you notice that the lines start to kind of like, like when you're moving like a puzzle cube over and over, like things start to like line up and then not, and line up and then not, and you go, oh, okay, I kind of see what's going on here. And it seems to be moving in the right position. It doesn't necessarily latch anything, but you haven't moved it all the way around. You've maybe moved it like maybe a quarter of the way around the column. And it hasn't rested yet, hasn't clicked or anything yet, but you don't feel as if this is a failure. You just feel like you just need to keep going.
All right. Well, I'll keep twisting and twisting.
Okay, go ahead and roll again for me.
Haha. 5.
Okay, so excuse me. Sorry, I had food in my mouth. You go ahead and push it, and it's like you're pushing it, and you're like, and you start to get frustrated. You're like, it's not making sense, and you push it forward, you pull it back, you push it forward, you pull it back. You're like, it's not lining up, and it's just not like it doesn't make now suddenly it doesn't make sense. You're like, this doesn't make sense. This has worked for them. Why is it not working for me?
My entire experience with puzzles.
Now, I wanna-
frustration. Can I try twisting it one more time?
Yeah, of course you can. I was just gonna say, if anybody wants to, at any point during anyone manipulating this thing, if you want to make a roll to like observe what's happening or investigate or anything, like, please feel free to just say you're doing it while it's happening. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, if you want to do it again, roll D20 again.
Frustration is not.
No, actually, I'm sorry. I
working.
literally was just about to say, because you've now done this twice and you've seen how others are doing it, I will give you advantage on this next one.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
we have advantage anyway through the?
I'm not using the.
Inspiration?
I'm
The-
not using that.
Yeah,
Yet.
he can choose
but
to
that's
use
a
it, but it's a one and done.
Yay!
Dude, what are
About
with
11
these rolls?
rolls.
He's higher.
And so, okay,
I
so you
was
guys watch
scared.
as Basil pushes it a little bit further, and he pushes it the way Othwin told him to. He pushes it clockwise, but he doesn't push it all the way, and it's not lining up, and he just gets frustrated and lets go, and just like shrugs, and he just is like what?
Literally me.
By the way, this is the only time I will ever like, quote unquote, power game you guys is in this sort of stuff. Like, I'm not doing it to be an ass, I promise.
No, it's a-okay, but it's literally my reaction to some past puzzles I've ever done. So, Basil's frustration, I know it, and I'm laughing at the fact.
Now, I will say, because this is, you guys all have to understand, this is the first time I've ever done tabletop puzzles, so I'm still learning how this is going to work as well. So please bear with me. That being said, if any of you who've seen how this has worked so far wants to assist Basil, you guys can do an assist roll on the next one where you guys both roll, and we can do it that way. Like, because you guys are all just standing there, you guys aren't just mindless statues watching this happen. Like, everybody's doing this puzzle collectively, so like jumping in with each other is perfectly acceptable.
Are you sure I'm not
I
nine
was
the
about to
statue?
ask.
I mean, I'm always curious about that with Dax, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
I feel
I was
like
about to ask
that
you
would be-
what would happen if Athwin could help.
Yeah, Athwin could absolutely. Athwin kind of has figured this out from the beginning, so she can 100% help. So, how would Athwin help Basil? Like, she sees that he's getting frustrated. What would she do? Mind you, she's noticing that he is not pushing this all the way around.
She's getting frustrated that he's not pushing it the way she wants it to be pushed. So she's going to go closer, a little bit closer, so she can try to get a little bit taller.
How does she get Spitwick to move? Because she's not pushing the lever at this point.
She's using her talons to kind of like one of her talons to pull him forward, like kind of like grab my hair and pull, like go.
Like
go
like guiding a
forward.
horse with spurs.
Yes.
Jeez.
Nice.
So you hear everyone in the room hear Spitwick yelp in pain as she grips him tightly with one of her claws to get him to move, and he somehow gets the message. Baby,
Does help that she yanks forward.
yeah,
like,
yeah, and
just
so he
to-
kind of figured out like what she's doing, and he follows along, and you kind of shift to the other side, over where Basil has left the layer, kind of unfinished essentially. What does she do then?
She's gonna. Because it's how much taller is it than her now that she's on Spitwick? To the next layer.
From now that you're on top of Spitwick, it's probably like right above your head. Like, you could easily put your wings up and push the lever like above your head.
Okay. Well, that's how she's gonna reach up with her feathery hands,
Mm-hmm.
and she's going to try to push it.
Okay. So, Basil, are you gonna? Would Basil have given up, or would he also keep trying to like see what Athwin's doing? Like, I need to keep going further. Like, what would you do?
He'd also join in again,
Okay. So go ahead and each of you roll me a d20.
despite Basil's frustration. He's gonna keep trying. Oh my god!
Me.
Okay. All right. That's okay. So, the way that this works is I'm combining both of your rolls together. So the total is not 8 or 4, it's 12. So as you work together, Bass, you're like, this is ridiculous. This isn't working. And Othman's like, no, we got to keep going. And as you guys kind of push, and you feel it rest, and you feel it click into place, and you immediately let go, and the lines are all lining up more, and it's just creating this pattern. You've now completed the bottom 3 layers are now all the lines on everything matches up, and it starts to create this this piece of you can't tell what it is, but all the lines are lining up. It looks like it's continuous. It doesn't look as abstract as it did before.
Can I see how many more we have to move?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's 5 total, so you can see that there's 2 left.
I'm just determining now that Basil does not have an eye for art. And that is the biggest cause of his frustration.
That's
with
funny.
this.
Yeah,
I can just pretend that America's been standing there and letting his nobleness come through and just enjoying the picture.
Elena's
It's like, oh, that looks nice.
Letting his nobleness come through. Good grief.
Selena's just following the walls, like at the same height as that one glass rock is, and just tapping like every other.
Oh, she's still looking for those?
brick to see if there's more.
Now that she knows what she's looking for, she would find one here, 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 come on,
Yeah, that
here.
makes sense.
Basically, on all on both sides of all the doorways. So there's a total of 8 in the room. And if she's just walking, and they're literally in the exact same places, the exact same height, in all of those corners. But yeah, but Othman, you would clearly be able to see that there's 2 more layers until it does the same thing it did on the bottom, where it'll just have art that is etched at the top of the column that is not going to spin or anything. It's its own separate section, and you can see that there's a couple carvings up top as well.
Who's gonna jump from Spitwick's head?
She's gonna.
Free. He's free now.
Okay.
She's gonna walk her way over to her closest person, which would be, I'm assuming, Dax is the closest to me.
Maybe it depends on if Dax has moved at all.
Basil.
Well, yeah, you were right next to Basil.
Yeah, no, Dax hasn't moved a whole lot. She's just been kind of like leaning against the wall, kind of laughing and enjoying.
I don't know which way we would have stopped. Just shove her right there.
So yeah, you guys were probably right about there. Would have been on the other side of the column.
Can Alan see who's taller than each other
Of course, just by
throughout the time?
Yeah.
like, that they've been in.
yeah, just simple observation when you'd be able to see who's taller. I genuinely don't remember. Does anyone remember what you guys wrote your characters at height wise? Because I don't off the top of my head.
6 something. I think it was 6.
Yeah, I remember Dax being
6'2".
pretty tall. I remember Talina
Did I
being
even
pretty
do
tall.
Yeah, Talina's 5'8".
Okay, 5'8". Okay.
She's not that tall. She's me.
I'm just 6.
Okay. I think in that line
Damn,
of
I'm
thinking
tall.
then, unless Grigor's taller, I believe Dax is the tallest. Not to mention Dax has horns, which help her height a little bit.
Yeah, well, she's 6'2".
Cheating.
She's 6'2" without the horns.
I can't remember how tall Basil is.
I don't think he was that tall.
No.
Wasn't you short?
He was average boy.
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
It should say in the background tab on Beyond if you put it
I
in.
was gonna say, let me go check the background tab.
The last 2 columns that we need.
You made him
far off the
5'6".
ground are they?
He's a short boyo.
He is average or shorter.
Yeah. Yeah, you made Alexander 6 feet. Grigor is 5'10". Dax is 6'2". And Talina is 5'8". Yeah, so Dax is the tallest at 6'2", plus however long her horns are. So she's got a couple inches on top of that.
Yeah, so she's probably like 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
Yeah.
With her horns.
There's your answer,
Okay,
and you could tell she's the tallest because it's by a
Now-
pretty substantial margin.
The last 2 columns.
Mm-hmm. Or
Can
you mean
she
layers
tell
on the
height-
column?
Like, yeah, the layers on the column.
Uh-huh.
Could she tell how tall they are compared to everybody? Like, would she need to find the tallest person?
The highest level on the column, probably, like, Dax would have to reach above her head to reach it. But she wouldn't have to, like, climb anything. Like, she'd be able to just, like she'd be able to reach up with both hands, and she could probably push it with her hand, but she'd have to kind of reach. The layer below that would, any of the normal humanoids in this room could probably do it. It'd probably just be just above their head.
So Athwood is gonna go towards Dax. And be like, she's gonna pull on, be gentle, pull on her leg, pants, or bottom of her shirt, or whatever she can reach at this point.
Is she gonna ask for uppies?
Ask for Dax to help her.
She's asking for uppies.
Hey. She's gonna grab whatever, like, after pulling, she's gonna grab it and pull her, try to gently nudge her towards the column.
Dax would look down at her and kind of understand what she wants, and she'd willingly, like, follow her.
And the burb gives you instruction. You do what the burb asks.
She's gonna point up to the next one that they need.
Okay.
And point the opposite direction that they just went.
So
the reference, you went clockwise on layer 3.
So Dax is gonna reach up and go counterclockwise.
Okay. So Dax, go ahead and roll let's do it this way to make things easy. So since Othman's helping you, just roll a d20 and then with advantage, so you can roll it twice. That'll make things easier. Nice. Okay. So with Othman's guidance, you push the 4th layer into a which direction was it again?
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. Okay. And yeah, and now that you've seen this process, you know, okay, I need to keep moving this until I feel or something happens. Like you've witnessed this enough times, you know what's going on. And so yeah, you start moving and you recognize it's very easy to move. And you hear that of the stone rubbing against other stone. And then all of a sudden, you feel it more than you hear it, and it kind of slightly falls into place. And you go, and you stop, and you pull your hand back, and you realize more lines have lined up. And you now have 4 of the 5 layers have created all of the lines. And you notice that these lines that felt more wavy and whatnot now look almost more linear. Like there's this pattern that's being created that looks like it's creating something that is more straight up and down. And it's from one side, you notice that it's creating an image that looks more linear, and then from the other side, it's all these like swirls and it looks like waves. Is basically on all other sides except for this one. Basically, on this side of the column, there's something that appears more linear, but all the way around it, besides that, is like crashing waves and like sort of like water-like shapes and cloud-like shapes and lots of swirls. But you have 1 layer left.
So I assume Dax is needed for this layer, correct?
I mean, you're the tallest, but everybody else could reach it if they wanted to. But yeah, you are the tallest of the group.
All right. So Dax is gonna go for the top layer, and she's gonna look down at the burb.
She's just gonna see her nod very quickly, like yes.
Okay, so she's gonna start moving it clockwise.
Okay, go ahead and roll a d20. And because Othman is like, yep, you're doing it right, go ahead and roll with advantage again. Oh.
You missed.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Shouldn't be an O there.
Oh. Whoops. So close.
I'm not sure what the KH1 is either.
The highest one.
19.
Awesome. So yeah, so again, because you've seen how this works and Othman's guidance, you move it the other direction and you move it for a bit, and then, and same thing, you feel it more than you hear it, and it clicks into place. And as that happens, as the final layer is clicked into place, you hear this, like this sort of thrumming that starts to emit from the center of the column. It's soft. It doesn't feel like it's shaking the room, or it doesn't feel ominous. It's just sort of this sound that you hear, like a humming sound. And as this humming sound is happening, you watch from the bottom of the column up to the top. All of the carvings start to illuminate. The lines start to emit light, and it's like I said, like almost like water filling a cup. From the bottom to the top, the light just starts to build up through all of the carvings. And as it does, you notice that in fact all of the swirls do create like water. It's like crashing waves and rocks and like waves breaking on top of each other. And as it gets higher, you recognize that now it's like a water line, and then it's clouds, and then it's like a sun. And for those of you who are standing on this side of the column, which would be, has anybody moved from their positions that are on the map currently? Just for my curiosity.
I've done a full rotation, so I'll probably be standing on that side of the doorway. But...
Okay, yeah, go ahead and just real quickly go ahead and place your guys' tokens where you think you are in the room. If you're not already where you are. Yeah, if you guys are already where you think you are.
I shall remain.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right next to the burb.
Okay, so then the only people who see it immediately are Spitwick, Talina, and Grigor. On this side of the column, a shape has been created from top to bottom with the layers, and it has created a very linear-like structure that, as it's illuminating, gets to the top, and you realize it's some sort of a lighthouse. It creates the visage of a lighthouse, and at the top, as the light emits all the way to the top of the column, the lighthouse beacon, it becomes very bright, and it looks like it's emitting a ton of light from the center of the column. And as that happens, a soft purplish glow starts to suddenly warm the room from all of those locations, Talina, that you found. Light just starts softly pouring through what was rock and now is not. Now it's this soft glow that's coming from some sort of glass-like, things embedded in the stone. And it illuminates not only this room, but you start to notice that there's a soft glow that's now coming from around this area that you guys have found yourselves in. Let me go ahead. It's going to take me a second to do this because it's not quick.
As the lights around the wall start glowing, everybody can hear an audible "aha" from Talina, and then she quickly covers her mouth again to make sure she wasn't too loud for any potential things that may have woken up with the light.
How loud would you say that aha is?
Oh, not quite like not top of the lung screaming, but like I was right kind of,
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
sort of an expression.
Okay. In that case, roll me. She's trying to keep. She's like, oh, I got to be quiet. Is that what you said? She kind of does that.
Well, yeah, she would notice it after, like,
okay.
Oh, that was kind of like.
Then we're gonna do it this way. Roll me basically the equivalent of a stealth check, it's not like stealthy, but I kind of understand what you're trying to do.
12 total.
Okay, there we go. 12 total. Okay, yeah, you're perfectly fine. She kind of catches it. You hear it kind of echo through the room, but then it dies out. You don't hear anything beyond that.
I mean, it doesn't help that she's been humming the entire time to recast Dancing Lights.
So as the lights, I don't have like a cool lighting effect, so I apologize. I don't have that. Foundry will, and that would be a lot cooler. But for this purposes, basically you can just kind of, let me see if there's a little shape I can kind of help you guys out with. Let me see if I can help you out here to kind of give you an idea. Yeah, so basically there's a little... Oh, wait, I want to do... Is there not a transparency level? Is that, am I crazy?
I'd never managed to get it to work. You can set an alpha on the colors, but...
Okay.
They're iffy.
I'll just do it this way then, because obviously you get the idea that there's light in here. I'm just going to do it this way, make my life easier. So basically each of these corners actually has 2 lights, but...
so the bits that poke out?
Huh?
So the bits that...
Yeah, each of those things that poke out basically create the equivalent of a light. And I won't do them everywhere because I'll lose my mind. But essentially, there's also lights that have now illuminated all over this area. So while I'm doing this, you guys can obviously react to all of this and do what you want to do in character, and I'll obviously get you. But I'm just going to be pasting these.
How bright are these? Like, are the dancing lights in the room we're in adding any additional light over?
No, these overpower the dancing lights. This fully illuminates the rooms in a it's illuminated, but it is kind of a purplish tint, very soft purple. It's not like overwhelmingly purple, but it's like a soft purplish glow.
In that case, dancing light just ends and she stops humming.
Fair.
It's like, I could keep making noise and snapping my fingers, or I could just not.
Yeah, because you recognize quite quickly that the lights that you were projecting are being overpowered by this purple. Like your cyan is now gone, and now it's just purple everywhere.
Well, not my first choice in color, but it'll do.
I like that.
But just standing there very proudly, superhero posing with her little feathers on her hips, and I did that.
Yes, well done, Othwin. That was very good. So yeah, you guys have now found yourselves basically in this, and you guys are free to like wander and everything that you would like to do, but you recognize that you are now inside this sort of, I don't know. You recognize that there's now carvings on the walls. It feels like you're in some sort of cathedral, temple, sanctuary space. Like it feels like you're in some sort of a space that was ornately built this way. And the interaction of this central column has now illuminated everything and has now kind of brought the whole space together, and it feels less ominous. It feels much more warm and welcoming now.
I just look at Spitwick.
Spitwick is like, his eyebrows have gone up. He's like looking around all the lights, and he's very impressed.
Wow, I didn't know it could do that.
And he wanders off to kind of go explore a bit, and you kind of see him wander this way. Anyone care to do anything?
I was going to explore.
Okay, go ahead.
We're going this way.
Yeah. So at this point, if anyone would like to explore, just go for it. Just kind of move your person around. Othwin, since you're the first one to do it, as you're kind of wandering down the hall, you recognize that you can see 3 columns where you're standing. You have the one off to your left, the one off to your right, and then one directly ahead of you. And now that everything's illuminated, the columns look similar. And from the distance, you can't really tell any major difference. But the one that's here looks very different from the one in here. There's no like rods projecting from the outside of it, or like little branches or anything. It's just a very smooth column that goes. I mean, it's just a very solidified, unified column all the way up the ceiling. It does have a sort of design on it or pattern, but you can't really make any detail from where you're standing, or at least immediately. And you can tell that the other 2 columns probably are similar, but you'd have to go explore further. And Talina, same thing. From where you're standing, you can see that the 2 columns that are on either side of you down those corridors again look like they look similar, but they look different, and they're definitely different from the very central column that you just interacted with.
Are there any lights on the well side? And are those doors actually doors?
Like right here?
Yeah.
That's an archway. There's no doors there. You guys already came through there. And there's no lights that have illuminated inside the well. And so Othwin, as you get up next to that column, actually real quick, Grigor, as you're going down this particular corridor, you recognize that unlike the other corridors that are relatively clean and well kept and well put together, this corridor looks like the wall here must have had some sort of cave-in sometime long ago. And while it seems like it's sturdy now, there's a lot of debris and rubble along the ground, and you can still see that there's still walkways on either side that you could go through, but it's like the entire wall that is basically like right along here, this entire wall has basically crumbled in, and there's very few pieces that are still holding it up. Like, it's not, like you said, you don't feel like you're in danger, but it just very clearly that wall has given way to something a long time ago. And then Othwin, as you've approached that column, you have noticed that, give me a second. Okay, hold on. Okay, so as you get up next to that one, you notice that... so as you get up next to this column, you notice that it is overgrown. As you get close to it, you notice that there's also a new color that's coming off of it, something that you didn't notice until you were inside this little circular room, and it's not purple. Excuse me, it's not purple. It's almost more of a greenish blue, and it's just little specks of it that are all over it. And you realize as you get up next to it, this looks somewhat familiar to where you come from, and you recognize that there's some sort of moss-like growth that's completely surrounding this column, and it has little flecks of bioluminescence coming from it. And in this sort of purplish glow, they kind of almost like a firefly kind of flicker here and there and kind of shimmer and whatnot. But it's all up and down the column from top to bottom. And then when you look at the base of this column, there's sort of these there's sort of like impressions in the floor beneath you that seem to circle all the way around the base of it.
You said it was like something like she came from.
What I say is she comes from like a forest area, and this column suddenly just kind of reminds her of home. It just feels very like, oh, this is like there's moss and there's fungi and there's like, it feels like this column shouldn't be down here in a cave, but is more something that you'd find out in the forest somewhere. So it's just, this column is very unique in that respect. But she kind of goes, oh, I know what moss is. I know what fungi is. This looks kind of similar.
Take a moment.
Okay.
First, she's gonna hug it.
And as she does, she kind of sinks a little bit into the moss and the fungi, and the bioluminescence kind of glows a little bit as she kind of leans into it. And let's see.
She's hugging.
I'm sorry.
She's gonna start picking some of the moss and fungi and whatever, and putting it in her bag.
See, as you go to pick it, it doesn't come off. She can't pick any or pull any off. It's like she pulls on it, and like there's like a little bit of like almost like a rubbery, like like how you pull a little bit, but it doesn't actually let go. And she like goes, and it kind of like rubber bands back into position a little bit. Not like super exaggerated like in a cartoon, but just like a little bit. But like it's very clear that it's not gonna come off.
Sit there and try.
Okay. So while she sits there and she's pulling on this fungi, Basil, you've wandered into a hallway as well, and you're kind of examining the walls, it looks like.
Yeah, I just kind of wandered down the same path that Athlin went, and
okay.
I went to the left.
Okay.
I went just
so
away from others, just to observe and explore.
Sure. So are you just wandering away? Because apologies, the way this grid is he like actually examining the wall, or is he just wandering that way?
He's kind of examining the wall as he goes across, just to kind of... all of this is very odd.
Sure. Okay. So on that particular wall, as you are going that way, you notice that the pattern on the wall that you're looking at is exactly the one that's behind you. So basically, this wall and this wall have mirroring images of each other. But the carvings seem to... like, all of the carvings that lead in the direction of this circular room that you're kind of headed towards are like wavy lines that, like, the best way to describe it is, have you ever seen like Melody Time, the old Disney like sing-along stuff?
I think I get what you're saying.
Do you know that art style of like the musical lines that create like a wavy kind of look, but they like there's the lines all follow each other and it looks like musical notes like on a pad, you know what I'm talking about? That's the kind of the vibe that you can that these are. It's obviously not one-to-one because they don't read sheet music the same way. But both of these walls leading into this central room, not central, but into this room here, the walls kind of look very musical in nature. It looks like the lines are kind of what you would maybe expect to see on some sort of written music. There's some shapes that maybe look like a lyre that has like lines coming off of it. There's what looks like it could be a horn, and there's some lines coming out of it, and it just looks very like almost like you can envision the song that's coming off of these walls here and here. Oh, sorry, there. And while you're doing that, Talina, as you've wandered into this room, as you walked past, have you examined the walls in any capacity as you're walking around and exploring, or are you just kind of like booking it around?
No, I'm just like, kind of like how you'd walk through a museum, not actively looking at every little bit, but like
Sure.
when a when something like draws my eye, I'll just give it a 5-second pause, give it
Okay.
a quick look over, and then keep walking again.
Okay, so yeah, as you've walked in, what you've noticed is that you've also seen carvings and etchings on these walls, and they also mirror each other on both sides. And both of those walls, the art seems to spill over into this circular room that you've wandered into, and the designs on these ones seem a little bit darker in nature. It looks like all of the etchings and carvings appear to portray like a darkness, like some sort of how do I describe this? Like shadowy figures that don't really have faces or any sort of defining features. Let's just kind of look more like silhouetting in shape. There's like lines of them, and sort of like rows of these sort of figures, and then they kind of merge and morph into a sort of like ethereal sort of shape, and then they'll kind of drift into the circular room where they then sort of become these shapes behind these lines of people that actually have more definition and defining features to them. And it's sort of this this like darkness that then spills into a sort of like a shadow, like what you'd see behind people. And the column in here, as you walk in and you can see what it looks like, this one, it stands in this very tall room. It feels like it's taller than the one that you were just in, maybe by about a foot or so. But the entire surface of it is engraved with carvings and etchings that show kind of depictions of kind of similar to the ones on the wall of sort of cloaked figures. And the cloaked figures kind of blend and morph in and out of darkness and definition. And several parts of the base of this, like several chunks of the base of this column, seem like they've been messed with, disturbed. Like it doesn't look like it's uniform all the way around. So while you're examining that room, Basil, you're over there, Othman, you're over there. Dax, I noticed that you were kind of walking around a little bit. You're kind of following Spitwick. Is that correct?
Yeah, she's not necessarily following Spitwick. She's just gone down the same path as him, and then she's gonna take like a right.
Okay. So she's going over here?
Yeah, like right there.
Okay. Are you kind of examining the area, or you're just mindlessly wandering?
She's mindlessly wandering, but she's glancing at the walls and all that.
Something, if you went this way, you'd notice that the patterns I just described to Basil, which obviously you wouldn't have seen, but the same exact description I gave to Basil of like that sort of musical vibe of lions kind of pouring out of lyres and of horns and out of maybe a mandolin on both of these walls here and here are mimicked and mirrored to each other, and it feels very kind of light and wispy, and the art kind of depicts what you imagine music would look like if put into art form.
Okay.
Oh, Selena, yes.
The way you've described it to me, like I'm getting a kind of like a religious vibe. So Telena's like trying to figure out like which religion might have like these figures all like embracing the shadow or something.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a religion check.
Yeah, I rolled a 6, so it's
Oh.
probably not gonna do anything.
You're like, oh, this feels religious, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. Like, okay, cool, it's probably some sort of religion, but yeah, no, like nothing comes to mind. At least with that particular, religion roll. Okay, so let's see, Grigor, you've wandered down into this kind of collapsed hallway, and as you round this corner, are you headed this way? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm heading that direction.
Okay, so as you are heading down that hallway and you kind of are rounding the corner, you notice that this wall, there's obviously no engravings because it's completely caved in, but this wall over here has some etchings and some carvings on it as well. And so as you're coming around the corner on that one, you notice that wall, it feels like you're looking at, like, as you're walking along it, you notice that as you just rounded the corner, the left side, looks like an old man with a long big beard, and he's has his head hung low, and he's underneath a tree, and he looks like it's just a very aged looking like carving. And then as you're walking down the hall, you notice that the individual that, let's say this man carving is getting younger and younger, and you're noticing, okay, here he is with some sort of woman you can assume is his wife, and then he goes a little bit further back, and okay, here's with his wife, and there's small little etchings, so this must be his kids, and you keep going, and you just notice it's kind of going backwards down this timeline until you reach this room, and the carvings, then you come into the room, and the carvings on the wall show the same kind of thing over and over in the room of basically like this sort of depiction of time of like going backwards from age to youth, and you see that kind of depicted in several fashions throughout the room, and you can very clearly tell that the room is kind of that vibe. And then when you look at the column, you look at the pillar in the middle there, it has these deep grooves that are spiraling from the base all the way upward, all the way around it in sort of a cylinder, sort of like a spiral fashion from the bottom to the ceiling. And each of the lines, there's like several of them, and they have these etchings on each one that look like what you could deduce as some sort of character or rune on each of these several spiraling lines from the base to the ceiling. And then Alexander, let's see, you're in the middle there, and you've kind of wandered down the same hallway Grigor did, and you saw him kind of disappear around the corner to the left. Or what are you doing in this room here? Are you examining this room, or are you going to keep going?
So I would be looking around in general. I don't know if you want me to roll history or religion or both, but Merrick would be trying to, and I remember it's keeping in mind that he hasn't been to this like city at all.
Sure.
That's above, so he doesn't really know much, but he's trying to figure out what this place is or what it could be based on the rumors he's heard.
Okay. Go ahead and, it's your choice. You can either roll a religion or a history.
Let's see if either of them is better. History's better.
History's
so
better? Okay, go
history.
ahead and roll a history.
Cringe.
Ooh. I mean, you do have that point of inspiration. If you want to go ahead and re-roll your die, you can use it. I'll let you do that if you want. But if you don't want to, then you wouldn't. The answer is pretty clear.
No, I'll stick with it. It's fine. He hasn't been to the city above, so
Yeah,
it makes sense if he doesn't know shit.
Yeah, so I mean, you're looking around and you can tell that this is a very old room. It's a very old structure, and that there is a lot of history within these walls. And the etchings on the walls prove that this is obviously a place of some sort of significance, but without any sort of local knowledge or local history knowledge, you would have no idea where this comes from. You're fascinated by it. You're intrigued. You want to know, but you have no clue what this represents or what's going on here. And you do notice as you're looking around that the room that you're in with the central column with that sort of lighthouse structure in the middle, all of these 4 hallways that everyone's kind of wandered out through that you also came in, you notice that the etchings on these walls here are the same etchings on these other corridors. They're slightly different. Obviously the artist's hands aren't going to be one-to-one, but essentially you notice that it's this sort of like you notice that there's like ships and people and whatnot that are traveling towards the center of the room you just came from with the central column, and you feel like people were traveling towards the center of this room as like going towards the light kind of deal. Like not in the sense of like everyone's like, oh, go towards the light, you're dying. Like I just mean like everyone's traveling towards that central room, and that's sort of the depiction you kind of deduce from these etchings on the walls.
Got it.
Okay, so let's see. I think I've gone through everybody, so now we'll go ahead and go back. Othwin, you're over here. Are you still tugging on those fungi?
No,
Get those shrooms.
She's not anymore?
No, she's taking it upon herself to walk around and like study the base of it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading something.
Shrooms.
Okay. So as you're looking at the base of this pillar, you recognize that there's the impressions are almost footprints of some sort of shoe-clad individual, probably humanoid, that kind of go in circles around the base of it, as if someone long ago has been here and interacted with this thing of some kind and had to go kind of all around it. And you recognize that they had to do it several times. So there's probably something that has to be done on all sides of this thing, or at least someone was very intrigued by it and went around it multiple times. I will say that due to your nature, because you're an owl and you're from the forest and you've interacted with things like this before, as far as like fungi and moss, and like this is not foreign to you. Roll me a nature check with advantage.
That just rolling it twice.
You just roll it once and then roll it again after that, and we'll see. The highest number is the one you keep. Okay. So, as you're examining these impressions on the floor, and Othman's like, these look like prints from like a person, from a humanoid, and then looks up at the column and it's like, well, I can't remove the fungi. You start to realize that, well, wait a minute, if I and she kind of puts her little feathery hands up, and she can't remove the fungi, but if she grabs it and like tries to move it, it'll almost like it slides inside the moss. Like the moss like moves for her to like move the fungi through it, and then the moss kind of grows back behind it. So it's not like it leaves a trail. The moss just the fungi almost like a little pawn on a chessboard moves through the moss as if it's like in water, and you can move the moss around. And based on what you saw on the ground, as well as the moss moving and the fungi moving, and there's fungi all over this thing, that something like the fungi has to be moved in some sort of way to move around. And based on that roll, you're doing this, and and you realize they start to kind of like form patterns, and you keep moving them around, and you realize that there's all this moss, all this these fungi all over it, but the one that right in front of you has formed, like, as you moved a few around, a couple of them start to kind of move together, and they create this sort of shape, and it creates this shape of like a how do I describe this? It creates sort of like I guess a rune is the best way to do it, and it creates a sort of rune right in front of you. And there's more all over it, but you realize what you have to do.
With that knowledge in her head,
Mm-hmm.
and her in almond, she's gonna take her little legs and dart out here.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna look both ways and see who the closest person is to her. Which I'm assuming, if you didn't move, Basil would be the closest.
So yeah, so you see Basil off to the side, yeah.
If he didn't move, she's gonna run over to him, and she's gonna grab his finger and pull him with her.
Okay. Just like that. Acting just like the adult to a toddler grabbing you. Just okay, and just getting dragged along
by the finger. So
Okay.
she's gonna show what she was doing in the picture that had created in front of her.
So what you're seeing in front of you, Basil, is you see this magnificent column from floor to ceiling, and unlike anything else in this entire structure, this particular column is covered from floor to ceiling in a very beautiful arrangement of moss and vine work and fungi, and basically it's just very kind of like a terrarium exploded on this thing. And where Othwin's pointing is some of the fungi, the little mushrooms, have formed into the shape of a rune you've not seen before. And they're holding that shape. And the fungi around it that she was kind of manipulating didn't leave a trail, so you can't see where they came from. It just looks like it grew like that. You don't know that she moved them. But there's a very clear, and you don't know what the rune means, but there's a rune right in front of you made out of mushrooms, basically. And also the mushrooms are bioluminescent in various capacities, so the column is also kind of emitting a very kind of soft, natural sort of bluish cyan color here and there.
I'm not exactly sure, and in turn Basil's not exactly sure what to really do to proceed with the situation. Is there anything I could do to just kind of try to gain some more knowledge of what this is?
Is that a DM question, or are you
I see the rune.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything I can do to try and make out what it is? Would it be magical rune or
Sure.
other type rune?
Let's do this. You can either roll. It's up to you. You can roll an investigation to like get up and inspect it. You can roll a history to try to see if you can think back and remember something like this. You can roll an arcana check to see if it's something of an arcane nature. Basically, you pick what you're trying to deduce or how you want to figure it out, and then roll it, and we'll go from there.
I'm not exactly sure what I want to deduce and figure out. At this point, Basil would look down to Othwin and be, I don't know what this is or what we're needing to do with it. If I'm being very honest with you, little.
As he's saying this, although he's taking more mushrooms and trying to move them around to get more things to happen.
So this time, as she's moving the fungi, the mushrooms around, Othwin, they're not, like, for lack of a better term, auto-forming into a shape this time. They're just moving as you move them. However you move them, they're moving, and they're holding where you leave them, but they're not moving and forming like they did the first time.
So wait. They moved and formed, like the first batch moved and formed into that one, but the rest of them are free floating?
Sorry, 1 second. So the first ones that she interacted with, she just kind of was moving things around, and all of a sudden it kind of formed into this runic shape. But now she's moving them around, and they're just kind of moving where she moves them, but they're not like connecting or auto forming in anything. If that answers your question. Sorry, I was responding to the thing about my chat.
Just to humor myself on this, and because I'm noticing that the other fungi are not getting moved back into place or moved around. Basil would try to do his dangdest, and depending on how many just random fungi there are, try to make it match what the rune shape is. Just to see what.
Like try to recreate the same rune?
Yeah, like right next to the rune or like right below it,
sure.
Find the other fungi and just recreate it and see how close he can get.
So, yeah, you grab these squishy little fungi, and as you move them, it's really kind of fascinating how it moves through the moss, like the moss parts right at the base of the fungi, and lets you move the mushroom. It feels weird. Like it doesn't feel like it should be something that should happen where the fungi will just move on like it should let you move it at all. It just kind of softly glides through the moss. And yeah, you're kind of able to kind of haphazardly arrange them to recreate the runic shape, but it doesn't look as uniform. It doesn't look as tight. Like it doesn't look like it's like, yeah, you can kind of make it, and it's kind of like the equivalent of someone like elegantly like doing a very like really cool cursive drawing, and then you try to do it next to it and it just goes kind of clunky, and it's like, yeah, sure, it looks like it, but it doesn't look as uniform and nice, and you get the feeling of, yeah, I can recreate it, but it doesn't look the same. It doesn't look like it's supposed to do that. Like it looks like it's just kind of there. While you two are doing this, we're going to jump back to Grigor real quick. Grigor, you're looking at this column in this room, and you hear just down the hall, because you're not that far, you hear the two of them conversing, and you hear this strange sound that you're not really sure what it is, but it just sounds like soft shuffling, like, and it's a very strange sound. You don't know what it is, but it's coming from that direction. But as you're hearing that, and you're looking at the column in front of you, like I said, you have these deep grooves that create a very like not tight spiral, very open spiral that goes from the base and just kind of has this very elegant flow that goes all the way around the column up to the top. And there's several of these spirals that are kind of follow each other up, and each one of these has a very specific rune that's attached to the spiral as it goes up. And as it gets to the top, you notice that as it hits the ceiling, the lines, unlike all the other columns and everything that you've seen, and they just end in the column, this one actually goes off of the column. And as you look up at the ceiling and you see where the grooves hit the ceiling and then kind of come off the column, the sky, the roof of the room that you're in is rounded. Unlike the other ones that were more like a flat, like a cylinder, this one actually feels like a dome. And the lines that come off of it, you look up and you're like, wait a minute, that looks kind of interesting. And you realize that the roof looks like the night sky. Like you see like deep indentations that look like could be stars, and there's lines like connecting some of them that maybe there's some sort of like, you know, something, some sort of shape up in the sky, essentially, is what you're kind of noticing above you.
I missed this. Sorry, which one was this?
This is the one that Grigor is in. This is this room right here. Oh, you also notice, I'm sorry, that over here, this is the one spot in this entire structure that you've noticed that the floor looks different. It looks like this cobblestone has been kind of ripped away in a couple of spots. Like maybe like a large boulder or something fell and damaged all this area, and like the pieces have been pulled away, but there's no boulder there. The side of this room does look a little bit different than where you've seen before, but it's just kind of like a chunk of the floor is essentially missing, is the best way to put it. Which, quite frankly, for Grigor, for you, doesn't feel too out of place from the hallway you just came through. It feels like this is a very old structure, and parts of it are just kind of missing. Do you do anything further in this room?
Not really, no.
Not no? Okay. So now we'll go ahead and hop over to, let's see, let's go to Dax. Dax, you have looks like you just entered this room here. And so as you've entered this room, the etchings and carvings that you saw on the walls out here in the hallway flow into this room and wrap around all sides of this in this cylindrical room. And inside it, like, what you thought may have been sort of like a depiction at like a musical instrumentation out in the halls is very, very clearly like this room just feels like you're in a, like the way that it's carved and everything. It's just like, oh, this is clearly supposed to depict music. Like there's just like little like musical sound lines all the way around that just kind of dip and dance and twirl and loop around other things. There's depictions of people playing lyres and mandolins and horns and drums and all sorts of things just scattered throughout the room. And as you get up to the column and look at it, or pillar, I should say, the pillar, this one looks different. It doesn't look as thick. You know, and the best way to describe that is as you get up on it, and you like place your hands on it, you feel like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel as like sturdy. And it has these holes dotting all over it, up and down, all the way around it. And, well, not all the way around it. I'm sorry, not all the way around. All up and down it from top to bottom. And the holes are probably about the size of like a quarter. Actually, probably more like the size of a nickel. From floor to ceiling, basically on this side. So kind of in between, like middle of these two openings. And there's these holes that go from floor to ceiling on this one side. And then on the other sides, it's just more of that carving and everything. And in this particular room, this is the first room, is as you walked in, as you crossed the threshold of this doorway, you notice there's a draft in this room. You're not really sure where it's coming from. Maybe it's coming from above. Maybe it's coming from inside the column itself. Maybe it's coming from the floor. You don't really know, but there's a soft draft that's flowing through this particular room. It's very faint. And you can hear. Actually, roll me a perception check real quick. Okay, yeah. So you feel like you can feel a draft, and you hear this slight whistling sound, like there's air coming from somewhere, but it's being blocked by something. And when you hear that, you're like, wait a minute, something feels off. And as you look around to try to hear where it's coming from, you notice that right here on this wall, that there's a slit going from top to bottom, very like a slit about the size, like probably about an inch or so wide, and there's a piece of rubble that's lodged at about, I'd say, this is about 10 feet tall, so probably about the 6.5 foot mark right above your head. there's a big piece of rubble that's wedged in this groove, and you hear the wind hitting it, the draft hitting it, and it's being broken up by this chunk of rubble, and it's causing like a strange, almost like a not like a whistling sound, but close to a whistling sound.
I'm gonna go ahead and try and move it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a strength check, please.
Wow, I am the weakest human being to live.
You're not a human, but good thing.
I'm the weakest tiefling to live.
Yeah.
I don't even have words for that. Yeah, you go to pull this piece of rubble out, and it just doesn't budge. Maybe it's an awkward angle. Maybe it's just wedged just right, but like, it doesn't even move. It doesn't even flinch. And you're like, I know this is not supposed to be here, but for some reason, I can't get it to move.
She's gonna keep tugging at it. She's not giving up.
Okay. I'll go ahead and let you roll one more time. Oh my gosh. So you grab it and you feel it give a little bit, like, but it's like, man, there's just something that's hanging on to it. It's just not coming out. But it does move a little bit, so you know it's supposed to come out. Like, it's definitely not supposed to be here.
Would I be able to see them down here?
I'm sorry. See who?
Would I be able to see them?
You could probably see like a little bit of them around that corner, just ever so slightly.
I would shout out to Basil to come here.
How echoey are these halls?
I'll
Decently
look
echoey.
look to Othwin and kind of motion of let's go that way quick. You can come back to this. Does Othwin go with, or
Did we lose Dragon?
I don't know if we did.
Sorry, my mic was muted this whole freaking time.
Oh,
Oh, when I got muted.
okay.
Did you hear his question?
No, I did not.
So the question was, I basically, so Dax just yelled for Basil to go to them. Basil looks to Othwin and is like, "We could come back to this. You go to that quick." Basically,
Othwin's just-
wondering if Othwin's gonna come along.
Yeah, that she's just gonna shoot. Like, use it. Put her her hand up and go shoot, 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 shoot.
Okay. All right. Basil's in.
Sorry, I was muted too. So Basil, as you walk into this room, you notice that those depictions that you saw earlier have just flowed into this room. They're all over the wall. Same description I gave Shadow a little bit ago. And the central column, this central column has these nickel-sized holes that are spaced out a couple inches apart from floor to ceiling, and those holes are directly facing the slit in the wall that Dax is standing next to. And in that slit, you can see this piece of rubble that Dax has been just dealing with.
And she's not just sitting next to it. She's kind of like pouting next to it, like,
What did you need?
I
Going
can't
on
move
here?
this stupid thing, she basically complains.
I can picture her arms crossed, just pouting like the thing won't move.
So Basil's gonna approach the piece of rubble and kind of look at it real quick, grabbing it between just two of his just index finger and thumb. And we're gonna try.
All right, roll a strength check. Let's see if Mr. Basil here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he
Fidget.
he grabs it and just like plink, and it comes out. Like it doesn't take a whole lot and just comes out.
Looks at the piece of rubble, then looks at Dax.
Dax would be pouting
Loosened
even
it?
more. Dax would be
Loosened
pouting.
it?
Dax would be pouting even more.
However, as this is happening between the pouting and then Basil being like, I don't understand what the problem is, as soon as that comes out, you guys feel the draft that was coming out of this slit on the side of this wall, when it's removed, now feels more like direct. Like it doesn't feel like it's being impeded. And that line, suddenly you hear a sort of harmonic whistle coming out of the, not whistle, but harmonic tone coming out of that pillar as the air hits all those holes. And it's kind of a, and it's very soft. It's not like it's not like it's piercing your ears. It's not like it's annoying. It's just a very soft sort of hum. And you only really hear it it's soft enough that you recognize you can only really hear it inside this room. Maybe it has something to do with the harmonics of the way it's circular or whatever, but there's a tone coming out of that column.
Huh.
So as these two have just... Oh, so go ahead.
Dax would look at Basil, just kind of still pouting, but also shrugging, because she doesn't know really anything about history or music.
Basil gives the same shrug back. Like,
you guys are both just shrugging. So as those two have just discovered this, we're going to jump down here to Alexander, who's down here in this other one. Alexander, as you walked into this room and looking at the walls, because you're the first person into this room. Excuse me.
Right.
Yep. So as you were walking into this room, you notice that the depiction on this wall here, again, same thing with Grigor that he noticed, is that this wall doesn't have anything. It's just rubble. It's kind of caved down in. But on the wall that's on the other side, you notice that the depictions and carvings on this wall were of these these large, like the way that it's depicted is you can see these people that you like little etchings that you go, oh, those are little tiny, like maybe those are children and these are humans, like these are like adults, and then you was, wait a minute, no, you start to deduce that no, these are depictions of normal humans and these must be giants of some kind. These are large creatures that are massive in size, that have big appendages like legs and arms that are like larger than life, and you realize, oh, these are some sort of depiction of these titans, these giants, these large behemoth-sized creatures that are living amongst these smaller depictions. And as you walk into the main room, it continues to kind of mimic that, where all the way around the room you see these depictions of these large creatures that are, holding entire trees, lifting boulders, like walking over rivers like it's nothing, like just all sorts of like images. And when you get to the pillar and you're looking at it, you notice that it's off kilter. It's not straight up and down. It's kind of off to one side a little bit, kind of leaning more like this way, and it's at the very base of it. It's not. Hold on a second.
Holding on.
I know, right? Okay, so yeah, at the base of let's see, probably be like this side. Actually, probably more like this side and this side. Are these two sets of skeletons, one on each side, and they're big. They're big. Like their heads are maybe no more than 6 inches to a foot below the ceiling. Like these things are tall. And they're each one of them is gripping these gigantic levers on either side of the column, and they're just like the skeletons are frozen in place. They're dead, obviously, and they're holding this lever, and the levers look ridiculously old. Like they look like they are rusted over. They look like nothing on them works anymore. They are basically just ancient pieces of metal, basically on the sides of this thing, completely stuck in place. And the pillar is it's kind of similar to the wall behind you, where it seems to be like it's lost some pieces of it. It's looking a little old. It's still obviously standing up, not upright entirely. It's obviously leaning to one side, but it's up, it's vertical more or less, and it's not like it's gonna fall over. It's obviously still kind of attached to the ceiling, but it's looking like it's missing a few pieces.
Am I able to investigation what the levers might be for?
If you want to go ahead and roll an investigation check, go ahead. Oh, hold on.
Ooh.
Okay, the 15. You're looking at it, and you said specifically what was the question?
What are the levers?
What are the levers for?
I was speaking of levers for,
So-
basically. Yeah.
You're looking at the levers, and you can recognize that they obviously do something, and there's 2 of them, so they obviously both need to be manipulated in some kind. You are you recognize that the positions of both levers are in the exact same position on both sides of the pillar. Like they're both at the roughly the exact same angle that the skeletons are holding them in. And the position of both skeletons is in the exact same form. And you deduce that basically the levers probably need to be pulled in unison. They need to be pulled at the same time. You can't really figure out what they do. You're not really sure what happens, but both levers need to be moved. You can kind of deduce, I think these levers need to move in unison. They need to move at the same time.
Hmm.
Tyrant. So yeah. Also, by the way, guys, I would recommend, since we're going to have to, I'm just going to give you a heads up, we're going to have to stop in 5 minutes. So what we'll do is anyone who has not take some notes on anything that I've told you so far. I'm obviously going to do the same thing here in a minute. I've been taking notes, but I'm going to wrap up as well with some notes. But we're going to have to leave you guys kind of in this investigative state until our next session. So if you guys have any questions now, go ahead and ask me now, and I'll answer anything that you can't remember from what you've already discovered, and we'll pick up back here in this underground subterranean area next time. So any questions you guys have that you may have forgotten, things that I need to clarify for you?
I'm good on my end.
No.
I'm pretty much set on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm set on my end.
Cool. Okay, so then what we're going to do then is, because I know that people are getting sleepy and we started a little late, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the session here. You guys have found yourselves in this subterranean sort of temple-like environment where these 6 strange columns, which one you've figured out is basically a gigantic light switch that you've turned on and which has illuminated the rest of the area and has revealed these very unique 5 columns that have different designs and some sort of different meaning, and each one has different art around it and different depictions and inscriptions and engravings. And you've figured some things out. You have some other questions and whatnot. But as the group is investigating, we're going to go ahead and put the pause on here, and we will pick up your guys' investigation in the next session. Yeah, thank you guys for playing this evening. Appreciate you guys as always. Yeah, of course. Thank you for dealing with me kind of struggle busting my way through this after almost 2 months of a break.
We just had to, shake the rust off.
Lots of rust.
Quite literally. I think there's still some in the cracks, but we'll deal with that next time.
Okay, yeah. So
Gross.
Tyrope asked in Discord, and I'll answer here since it's a very fair question. So let me put this back real quick to better explain this. So looking at the room that you guys have seen, upper left is sort of shadowy figures and depictions of like darkness morphing into light and like figures that are descript, and then just figures that are more silhouetted. Top right, where Dax and Basil are currently at, it's very musical in nature with lots of sort of swirling lines that depict like song lines, and there's different instruments, and there's a sort of there's a draft breeze coming out of a slit in the wall you guys are currently facing that is hitting the column behind you and is causing a sort of harmonic hum. Bottom left is the room that Alexander has just discovered, and it's these depictions of giants and these depictions of large, like larger than life creatures that are lifting like trees out of the ground and holding large boulders. And then on either side of the column, there's these gigantic skeletons holding these rusted levers, and they're in almost exactly the same position on both sides of the column. Bottom right is the one that Grigor is in, and this is the one that has these spirals that are going from the ground, and they kind of swirl around each other all the way to the ceiling. And each line that comes out of the ground and creates its own spiral has a different runic symbol that's on that line that you can easily see, and each one's different. And then those lines that hit the ceiling kind of swirl out, and this is the only room that's more dome-shaped, and the lines go from the column and then swirl into what looks like kind of an etching of like a night sky, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like astrologicals, like locations and symbols and whatnot on the ceiling. And then the middle right, which is the one where Othwin is the one that is covered in moss and fungi and vines and has that bioluminescence to it. That she has found that some of the moss has kind of formed itself into a runic symbol that no one quite recognizes. But at this point, that's basically it. So that's the answer to each one of the columns that you guys have discovered and kind of the vibe of each one. Hopefully that helps. Looks like Tyrope has updated his notes too, so that helps. Cool. Constellations. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Monhole. I couldn't remember. So cool. Well, if there are any other questions I can answer for you guys, because I don't want to leave you guys totally hanging. You guys can think about it a little bit if you want.
I'm all good.
Cool. Awesome.
I'm all good.
Fantastic. Well, let's let you guys get off to sleep. Thank you so much for playing with me tonight, and we will figure out a time for the next session. Hopefully next week, maybe, or a week after. We'll have to see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and this VOD will be up on YouTube and Twitch probably maybe tonight if I have time. Excuse me, if not tomorrow. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.